are listening to the 31st Lap Podcast, recorded live in the studios of FingerLakes1.com in downtown Seneca Falls, New York.
Fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
Good evening and welcome to the 31st Lap, presented by Finish Line Web Design. I'm Chris Morker. With me in the studio is Mike Mallett and John Bomas. Missing from this evening's program will be Rich Post. He's home celebrating some birthdays, so we'll send a big well wish to him. We're coming to you live from the lavish FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls. Thanks so much for joining us. We're streaming live on FingerLakes1.com. Follow the links that you can find on 31stlap.com to see the show as it happens. We've got another huge lineup tonight. We're going to catch up with upstart Danny Varin, Utica Rome ESS winner Shawn and midget star Tracy Hines. And, of course, we're going to have the full docket of results, and we're going to argue the popular question, slicks tracks, is it car design or track preparation? Guys, welcome to the show.
Yo.
What's up?
What's happening?
Boy, all the energy in the room.
Yeah, I know.
How can you stand it? Without Rich, he's like the catalyst to get you two wound up.
Yeah.
It's a shame that he's not here.
No, I think we're still recovering from our weekend.
What a weekend it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a good weekend.
It was
a
pretty
great
cool.
adventure.
I mean, I had six races in 7 days there, or whatever it was. So it was a fun weekend we had this weekend.
Well, I
Had a
think
good time.
I think the most fun that there was to have was Monday at the Victoria 200 on Memorial Day, live trackside from Utica Rome Speedway in Vernon, New York.
There you
by
go.
the way. Yeah, we had such a great time doing the 31st lap live. We got to hang out with so many different drivers, and thanks a lot to everybody who tuned in live and has gone on and hit the websites and followed up with it. It was a great time. I mean, we had Bobby Varin after the race, Jimmy Davis and Pat Ward. We had Jimmy Davis, Bobby Varin, Pat Ward pre-race. We had Brett Hearn pre-race. We had
Mitch Gibbs.
John Tiff. We had Mitch Gibbs. We had Doug Zupan, Craig Ravel,
Dino.
Dean Reynolds. Then we
And
had
don't forget
the
on
star. He's the
Sunday.
star.
On Sunday we had Shawn Donath, Paul Kinney, and Mike Mahaney. So we had a pretty good lineup this past weekend.
Yeah.
It really was a great time, and we got to make sure that we give thanks out to everybody. You know, Dean Reynolds, who helped get all the drivers, Craig Ravel on Finish Line Web Design, Doug Zupan, John Tiff, the Coles, Barb Clark. Huge thanks to all of them, and then of course Jim here, Finger Lakes One. You know, Dog and Polly, Tiffany. A lot of the podcasts that aired Tuesday and Wednesday this week have mentioned the work that we put in and the production that came out of it. So on top of that, we've also had a lot of contact and hits from other tracks looking to try to get us at their programs, which is kind of special. It means that we might have hit on something.
Well, that's good, right?
I would say. I would like to think so. I mean, I don't know. You guys tell me how you feel about it, but I would certainly hope that it feels like something that we want to do again. I had a ball with it.
I did.
Yeah, I had a good time. I can't complain.
It was pretty cool.
That was a fun day. It's a fun day.
And for me, just all of this for me has all been the last couple of months.
It's got to be.
It's been different. It's completely
for you,
different.
it's got to be different because, like people.
I've never done
like
anything.
we've announced,
like
so
this.
we know what it's like to be in front of people, and it's really not a big deal.
Yeah, that's not my forte.
Yeah. You got a little nervous. You had a little sweat there.
I can talk all day long, to people when we're just talking in a conversation, normal. But when you're kind of in a crowd and having people around you and you got microphones, it's a little different.
Yeah, and you got people milling around, and you're watching online. And you're
Yeah, and they're all waving at you
Yeah.
and doing this and doing that, flipping you off, whatever.
Yep. We had people walking by and go, "Hey, 31st lap," and I turn and look, and you see just as they start getting out of the sight, look at their buddy and start cracking up.
Yeah. It was fun.
Or people walking by holding up signs that say "Mallet sucks." That was a good one.
That was a good one. Or somebody comes walking by holding up a 4-foot picture of Mallet's head.
Yeah, that was even better.
Yeah, you guys can both kiss it. All right.
But yeah, I mean,
Listen,
overall,
I got
pretty cool.
groupies. What can I say? I can't help.
Yeah.
There was it's a flattering photo of me, by the way.
Yeah,
Flattering
what was
might
with
not
the
be the
cigarette,
word.
by the way? I meant to ask you.
We're not talking about that on the air.
That wasn't cool.
No, you can ask me on the way home, but that is not being talked about on the show.
That wasn't a cigarette. That was a pen.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
It was a pen.
Sure looked like a smoke to me.
Well, we all know you're wrong most of the time.
Okay. Nice try.
What did they do to your camera? You got a ton of headroom over there. I didn't even think
Who?
to check
Me?
that before we got going. No,
Which one?
The top of your head. If you two swap seats, things would have been just fine. But they're cutting your head off over there. We got a
Who? Me or him?
who? I'm talking both of you.
I know. So
yeah,
which
very
one?
good.
It's like
don't worry about it. You know what? It's like it's the first time we've been back on the air. It's weird. We're in. Why are we indoors?
Yeah, we're inside. There's no light. It's back in. You know, this was the hottest setup there for a while. Now we had a chance to sit outside in the gazebo. And
that's
all those
way more
fun.
fun.
And we're like, wow, we're stuck in the dungeon.
Yeah, outside is way more fun. That was I think that was the cool thing about it. It was nice. I do want to say thanks to all the people that responded to my post on Dirt Track Digest. They gave us some suggestions and things like that. You know, maybe turn the gazebo, maybe have another speaker or something so the people could sit in the picnic tables and listen. So there's a few things that, you know, we took notice of what you suggested and what you'd like to see. And
we kind of talked about it after the show Monday night about turning the gazebo. I'm not sure, you know, obviously they would have to figure
that's
out
out of our hands. Yeah, that's out of our hands. So
the thing is a monstrosity.
Yeah, I don't think
you'd need a forklift to turn that thing around.
Yeah, I'm getting harassed now on the text message because I look like Jabba the Hutt over here, I guess.
That's terrible.
That's all right. I'm a fat guy. I'm used to it.
Out of that.
All right. Thanks.
We'll get you out of that.
Put Bombas on there.
There's Bombas.
See, Bombas is good, though, because you can see the 31st lap logo in the back of them.
Yeah, can you see it okay?
Yeah, you can see it perfect, actually.
Okay. Good.
So we're all good there. So
originally, we had planned on having Jarrett Andretti on the show tonight. We'd worked it up all week, and Jarrett, unfortunately, was
racing now.
Due to the weather situation in the weekend, they took this opportunity to do an extra practice session in the super modified, according to Danny K up there at Oswego. So he's going to be in a test session. He was started about 4:30. They're going to go until about 8:30. And I said, we'll call in afterwards. And he goes, well, he's going to have been in the car for about 4 hours. So right now we plan on having Jarrett Andretti on with Brett Deo next Thursday.
So that's the plan for next week. And who
the
knows
plan so far.
Who else we can get for next week.
Well, we're working on Andy Buchetti.
You working on that?
We need to get some contact information.
I was waiting to hear definitely what was going on. I have not said anything to Natalie yet through Facebook because yesterday when we were all chatting.
we were all going back and forth.
Yeah, all of us were chatting at the same time, and we all had different people that we were getting on. And then I got the phone call from Mrs. Hines, and I'm like, well, I better not contact her yet because we'll end up having like 5 or 6 people.
We
don't want to do that.
Don't want to turn anybody away. But then again, it's funny. The more we do this, the easier it is to get people on.
But if we've only got 2 people set for next week, then I will contact her.
All right, yeah, that's the plan.
Okay,
and then whatever happens from there happens from there. You know, so who knows? I mean, I don't mind the weeks we have 4 people on. It makes the show go really fast.
Yeah.
You know, I like having the 4, the 3 or 4, 4 interviews. I mean, this week we got 3.
4 is probably pushing it, I think.
Yeah, it gets tough. I mean, tonight we would have had what? We would have had 4.
We would have had 4. Yeah.
I mean, you figure we can get a good hour of interviews in. I think that, or whatever it ends up being, and then that's pretty good. And then we got our debate, we got the results, we got all the other stuff, all the BS, pick on each other stuff that we always do. So, aka like we're doing now while Chris is. Are you adjusting cameras? Yeah, he's adjusting cameras.
Nice.
Trying to make John look good, which I don't know if that's possible, but
John always looks good.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you can keep going with that.
I can't help it.
So we've talked about a lot of different things of what we want to do. I think it's pretty neat. Some of the people that have contacted us about possibly doing events. The Hall of Fame is that we're going to talk about the Hall of Fame in a little while, but that is something we are definitely in on. I like that idea.
Yeah, the whole thing came together where Jay Fish got a hold of some of the folks over at Dirt, and there were some conversations about doing events in Elbridge and in Syracuse, and to see where that might lead. And one of the things that we definitely want to do is that show from the Hall of Fame, and that works hand in hand with a lot of different stuff that's going on. So I have to see what happens. There's a lot of potential there.
What shows out there? If you had to pick, I think if we asked the listeners to go on our Facebook page, what 5 or 6 shows after this past week would you want us to do? I mean, I know I have the shows that I want to do. Obviously, I want to do Dirt Week. I mean, who doesn't want to do Dirt Week? I want to mix in a late model show in there somewhere, and a sprint car show. And of course,
I don't know if we're going to be
Dirt
able to
Week
get that.
Have all that.
I don't know if it's going to work out trying to do that late model show.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one. What are you showing off our?
That's the decal
our decals.
Who made those? Come on.
Kenny Sign Shop. The folks at Kenny's Sign Shop took care of us on the decals and the big poster board. So, got to thank them for that.
Nice.
Did a nice job on those.
Yeah, they look good.
Yeah,
they sure do.
So I saw them on a few race cars this weekend, so that's always a plus. It's always a positive. Got to like that. And
Sweet.
if you want one for your car, I know Rich has a whole bunch for anybody that races out in Western New York. But,
if you want one for your car, let us know. We're already getting some suggestions. The first one that came in: do you need Mallett's head in the background? Thanks,
which
is always funny.
Yeah.
Outlaw 200 was one that came up right off the top. People want us to go to Outlaw 200, and I can't really argue that. That should probably be a decent night.
Yeah, that'll be fun for you guys.
Outlaw 200.
Yeah, he's never here for that race.
Nope, I go to the National Open. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, you are too, right?
Well,
he'll be there.
National Open.
I do not miss the.
He does not miss Fulton. He will not miss Fulton.
The thing is we're never going to be able to get in there.
Well, no, it's a possibility. Everything's a possibility.
You're right.
Everything is possible until you're told no.
Because it was entirely possible that we were going to get kicked out of Utica, and then it didn't happen.
It was not possible. All was good. It just took some miscommunication and figure everything out.
I would love to go to the National Open one day, but as long as it will always be on the same weekend as the
here's
Fulton
the thing.
200, I will not miss Fulton. That's my favorite modified race of the entire year.
I don't get me wrong. I love Fulton. I love that race.
Me too.
I love 410s more.
I know, and
that's how I am. I love the National Open.
That's your God-given right.
Behind the Knoxville Nationals, the National Open is my second favorite show of the year. Now, when you start talking modified races, my favorite modified show, I believe, is the Thursday night show of Super Dirt Week at Brewerton. I love that race. I don't know why. There's always an atmosphere about it.
Absolutely.
And I love the big shows at Utica. I love those. And I also love Eastern States. That's up there on my wish list. If we could pick it, and it was just these are the races we want to do, Eastern States is what I want to do. I love Eastern States.
Well, yeah, the thought of being able to do a live
show. The 31st lap from the 31st lap.
From the 31st lap bar would be, obviously, that'd be
cool,
awesome. Especially for you guys, because you're the ones that came up with the whole show in the beginning and the name, and it would be pretty cool.
I love Middletown. As much as some people don't like Middletown, I love that. I love going there. You can get there and you can be just, sometimes you're like, ugh. But I love Middletown. Just do. It's a long ride.
I enjoy that weekend.
Oh, I love that weekend. The racing that weekend is awesome.
I'm not, I'm not the biggest fan of the racing at Orange County.
See, I think
I love that weekend.
Since they've done some of the things with the track, the last couple times I've been there, I was there for the Outlaws. That doesn't count because they kept blowing tires, because they run too soft of a tire.
Right. It's a hard track anyway. It's a hard clay surface.
That's where it comes from.
Yeah.
So but I think the racing's gotten better there as they took the banking out. They've done a lot to really help the racing there, so I give them credit for that. And I think the 200s the last couple of years, there's been a ton of passing in those races on that Sunday afternoon. The when Tim won, McCready, after everything that went down, that was still a good race.
Oh yeah,
it was still a great race.
It was shaping up to be a great race, and then it just
this year, and
then
who was it? Danny Johnson won it this past year, right? Am I right on that? Yeah. I think so.
Yeah,
it seems like he wins it about every other year.
Yeah, and it all blurs together. It's so.
I think it's pretty much. a done deal that we're going to try to get into Eastern States.
We're going to try.
We're very much going to try to get into Super Dirt Week.
Yes.
The Hurricane 100 Thursday, October 4th has come up. The Outlaw 200.
That's tough.
Again,
the only thing that's tough.
Ship everything from the fairgrounds.
Here's the tough part. It's doing. The unfortunate thing that we all have is this isn't our job.
Right.
So for us to do the midweek things, it's a tough deal. I mean, if it's in the summer, I don't mind. We could do it.
Not only that, but the setup, it takes a while to set this whole thing up. You get all set up at Super Dirt Week. How are you going to move and move everything to Brew? It's not a matter of just hopping in your car and driving from the fairgrounds to Brewerton.
Chris and I talked about how we would prefer to do all. I don't know why we're talking about this on the air. It's entertaining, but if the listeners want to know about the thought process,
we're getting dates like crazy.
Yeah, the thing that goes through.
Suggesting to go do the. Somebody sent in about Brockville.
Yeah, you just got to
nationals in Brockville. You know what I mean?
Well, Bombas can't get into Canada, so that's a no.
All right, we don't have to go there, do we?
No, Bombas can't. He doesn't have a passport. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Some people do, some people don't.
No, but
we're talking about Brockport. Anyways, you already tried to bump me out of this thing earlier this week anyway when you said you want to learn how to run the board so you can do shows when I can't be there.
Yeah, I need to do all that.
But earlier when I talked about when we went, I said, well, maybe just some of us should go. And Mike's like, oh, no, the four of us need to be there.
We should all go.
But
your derby schedule is like crazy. See, at least my schedule, I'm going to be at the race anyway, so I don't mind doing it.
No.
Well,
which right now, when I just said that, there's one listener, namely Toe, who's jumping up and down like a fat kid in a bouncy house here, and he's trying to run me off.
Yeah,
there's going to be shows, though. I don't think it's going
to be possible for all of us.
Somebody's going to have to miss something. Like for instance, Super Dirt Week. with my now commitment to working at Rolling Wheels for their 6 races this year,
which means you're going to be
there's
working.
Two races during Super Dirt Week that I'll have to be there.
You're going to be working during Super Dirt Week too.
Well, I don't know anything about that. That's not been discussed.
I'm telling you right now, it's gonna. You're going to be working security.
We'll see. Who knows? We'll see what happens. I don't work security. That's not what I do.
Yeah, you don't know. Listen, you work for Dirt Car. Whatever they tell you to do, you're going to do.
If they need me to do something,
willingly,
willingly.
That'll be discussed down the road. But right now, I have 6 races.
Right. Well, we'll figure it out. Wheels. I mean, again, it's all stuff that we have to work out. This is what we want to do. Whether or not we're ever allowed to do it is 2 totally different things.
Right. And the point is that there's going to be some times where maybe one of us may not be able to be there. Obviously, the biggest thing right now as things stand is we can't do anything without you because none of us, first of all, none of us have the access to the equipment, but secondly, none of us know how to use it if we did have the access.
So it is what it is.
I do kind of like that.
Yeah. Well, it makes you important.
It's like, then I have to be here. You can't kick me off.
That's right. Yep.
No, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. I mean, there's a lot of good dates, and I'm sure there's a lot of things that we'd like to do.
That list there, between...
we have a list that we've sent to each other and the dates of things that we like. But again, the midweek stuff is tough because...
If it's close, I wouldn't rule it out.
Right, if it's close. But if it's a challenge, you live out here.
Yeah.
For us to travel, let's say... There's a meeting with Lebanon Valley or something, just to throw it out there.
Right, like I was talking about.
Yeah, it's tough.
If you could talk to Brett and you worked something out and you did something with his show for his production.
Yeah,
but again, to go all the way over to Malta.
Right.
For you and Rich.
On a midweek show, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. I mean, because this is not our full-time gig. It's our fun, really.
For now.
Forever. So, man, we'll see.
I didn't mean we're going to monetize it. I just meant that it might all just come to a screeching halt.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. True. That's true. Yeah. Everybody off the bus. So we'll see where it ends up.
Yep.
But
you guys are doing great, but you're not making me any money. So get out of the way.
Have a good one. It's like every other radio, right? Radio station. If you're not doing your job, making money, then you're out.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, we brought tons of sponsors in, right? Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Craig Ravel and Finish Line Web Design for being our one sponsor.
Yep.
Thank you, Craig. It was great to meet you over the weekend too, buddy.
He did have a great time, but he was not thrilled when we drug him onto the camera.
Who is?
Well, yeah, if you're not used to it, it's different.
Even you weren't even thrilled to be there when we first put the camera on you.
There? I was fine there.
Oh, okay.
My first time here was awkward.
Yeah, deer in headlights.
When we were out there, when we first turned the cameras on, there was people standing around walking by. You look like a deer in headlights. Yeah. You look nervous. Maybe you weren't. But.
No, I was fine Monday. I was way more relaxed than I thought I was going to be.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to be like that. Like my first time here.
Yeah.
But actually, myself, I was fine. I don't know how I looked, because to be honest with you, I have not had a chance to watch all of them back. I've played a few minutes in each one, but I haven't watched it all back.
And you notice how he doesn't care how anything else is? It's like, how did I look?
So I didn't notice anything different about the way I looked on camera. So if people thought that, I wasn't really nervous.
That's good.
Perfect. Glad. You know what? That answers every no, I'm just kidding. So you want to shift gears and?
Well, we should probably shift gears.
I love saying.
What do you want to do?
I don't want to do results yet because we're going to save that before we talk to Shawn Donnan. So let's.
I was thinking about doing this here.
Oh, really? Really jumping around.
Our mailbag blew up from people. We had one guy who said that you guys were like NASCAR. It was better than NASCAR.
Thank you, but no, okay.
Hey, you know what? It was local.
Makes us feel good. Yeah, it's a local deal.
It's a nice compliment.
It is very nice.
Another guy came up at the show, and he goes, "We'll be getting in touch," and he emailed us and said, what you guys did there was awesome. I was so glad that you did it. You really made that show, that race, feel like it was big time by doing the pre and post race shows the way that you did. Another guy posted and said, great job. I'm going to be listening every week. You got to make sure you do this again. And he threw out some ideas of places where he wanted us to be. Another couple folks wrote in. They said, we listen all the time, but the live show looked amazing and it felt real deal. You guys are going to be going places if you guys keep this up. Another fan, he was from Florida. He was at the event. And afterwards, he saw us talking and heard some of the conversations, and he wrote in and he says, you have to do a show from the Hall of Fame. I'm in Florida, and I want you to do a show from the Hall of Fame. So that was big, and another person wrote in and says, make sure you discuss those future dates and keep it to the big events, and you guys will do just fine. So I mean,
that's the goal.
Lot of support,
I mean, that's what I like.
Support.
That's what we've talked about. We want to make sure it's
specials.
Yeah,
not
we
your
want
normal Friday or
big
Saturday
event,
night
like
race.
Things that are events. We don't want to just do things. We don't want to do it just to do it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
We want to make sure the things we do are special events. They're important events. They're events that people will want to watch.
Right.
You don't want to just pick a regular Joe Schmo event that there's no significance to.
Right.
Anything we choose, we want to make sure there is some significance. So, let's get it. Anybody rip you apart this week or no?
No, did just fine. No.
Wow, nice.
No.
Nice.
No attacks by any toes.
No,
or
the only person there's only like 3 people that are on my back right now.
Oh, that's good.
And, and it's got nothing directly to do with this.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
But it's part of the game. You're gonna have that.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I get it. I get it about once a year. There's usually a post that I did something wrong while announcing, and then I get ripped apart for it. But well,
pay no attention.
You get used to it.
There's some folks that are looking for some videos and stuff like that are making it a little bit of a challenge.
Oh, did you get Bombas' video yet?
Yeah, did you get mine yet?
No, I didn't. My mom is home from the hospital, which is good.
Nice.
She came home after the procedure, so we want to wish her well. Part of her heart stopped working, so she was in. She had trouble, and then she was.
Was it a valve or one of those deals?
It was. Yep. It was the right ventricle that was not functioning as it was, and she was in the Rochester General Hospital all day Tuesday and then better part of Wednesday. But she came home last night, and she's doing real well.
Good. Well, that's good. Hopefully she feels better soon.
She anticipates running a 5K in 2 weeks, so we'll have to see. I have to see how that goes.
Nice. What do you want to go into now? We got the mailbag.
We did the mailbag.
You want to do the Hall of Fame discussion? And
well, yeah, I mean the Hall of Fame. We did touch on that a little bit earlier.
Yeah, we mentioned
some of the Hall of Fame stuff. That was part of All Star Weekend,
right?
Which Matt Sheppard won the race. And
yes.
Then, there were some big names that went to the Hall of Fame this weekend.
The big thing for all of us is
who's suddenly one of the best friends of the show is Jay Fish. Who is intimately involved with
the Hall of Fame now.
Yes, he is. He was snapping photos all through the whole induction ceremony on Sunday afternoon. Jay was. He did a great job, too. I saw some of his photos, and he always does a good job, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Mike. Put your phone down.
I got like 15 people text me, like, let's do this, let's do that. And it's like, yes, those are good ideas. And then I got somebody making fun of me, and then it's like...
Is that the person talking about how they put too much powder on you to cut down the shine?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who knows?
That's Parker, right?
No. Oh, no, that's a different...
that's a different person.
That's a different person busting my chops. Perfect.
Yeah, there's a couple people.
Yeah,
there's a couple of people that aren't shy about it.
So let's get to racing here. Of course, the Hall of Fame inductions. The two... the name that comes to mind for John and I, of course... Well, there's two names there. You have Jack Johnson.
Absolutely.
Because that's what we grew up watching. And, of course, Alton and Carol Palmer receiving the Gene DeWitt Outstanding Car Owner Award. So those things kind of go hand in hand for us. I mean, anybody that knows Fonda Speedway or Utica Rome Speedway knows Jack Johnson. I mean, that was the thing. I think we talked about that a little bit on Monday.
Yeah.
We talked about the inductions.
I brought it
and everything
up for a minute.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's special to all of us. I mean, it's unfortunate, though. I mean, I don't think any of us expected... I remember that night when Jack crashed in Turn 1. I don't think any of us expected that to be... That was it.
Well, no, not at the moment of the crash. You never think that's his last race.
Nope.
Unfortunately, obviously,
that's
we
how
all
it turned
know
out.
now that was...
Yeah, that's the sad part about it. I mean, I remember, calling that last race that he won at Utica. I remember the night before, I was out at Merrittville. We got rained out. I was with the Empire Super Sprints. And I remember... Josh, who was my co-announcer at Fonda at the time, calls me on the phone. He goes, "Hey, you'll never guess who won tonight." I'm like, "Who?" He goes, "Jack Johnson." I'm like, "Why is it every time I go away, something awesome like that happens?"
I remember thinking, "You dumbass, why weren't you there?"
Yeah, I know.
Because I was not there. I saw the Fonda one. I did not see the Utica one. I did, going to Fonda every Saturday because I was still living down that way. At that time, I was still going to Fonda every Saturday. So I got to see that last Fonda win. But I only went to Utica on occasion because the last few years he had not run very well at Utica, even though he was still there.
Yeah.
So I would go to Malta on Friday and Fonda on Saturday because I felt like I had better chances of seeing him win at those two places, and I would skip Utica sometimes. And of course, that one I did
one week
you go to, and he
missed.
Sweeps the.
I wonder who was doing the video then. I don't remember if it was Steve Weed or if it was Mel Thomas. I'd like to get a copy of that.
I'm sure Mel could hook you up.
Yeah, I'll see if it's Mel. If it's
did
Mel.
you get a chance to listen to Mel Thomas's like?
I did actually. I listened to everything. That was neat. Yeah, I did. I listened to everything that we did. Just kind of critique it. And
did you pull up Stitcher Radio yet?
No.
Did you check that out?
I have not checked that out.
I loaded that on my wife's tablet.
Okay. All right.
That was kind of cool.
I'll have to check that out.
You know, there's other racing shows right up there, just right alongside ours, and it's just like we belong there, man. It was cool.
On the
Little do they know that we don't.
Yeah, we got you all bamboozled.
Yeah.
There's other racing shows on this Stitcher Radio because I've not been on it. I've never even heard of it until you had spoken about it.
I pulled up 31st Lap. It was our show, and under it was NASCAR.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, I mean, it apparently ranks them based on listens, and we had 1 and they had 0. I mean, it was
awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. So we were like five times over that.
Nice.
You know.
So
multiply 0 times.
So joining Jack Johnson, Pete McNell, Mr. Small Black.
Yep.
That's always something that's cool. I mean,
he deserves it.
Yeah, Pete McNell.
He's had a hell of a career that isn't over yet.
No, and I mean, when you have a race car chassis named after you, I'm pretty sure you're important.
Well, that was the point they made during the induction ceremony when they were
you revolutionize a sport with your own chassis.
When they tell you about the person that's going to be inducted first before they actually announce them. The first thing they did was do all his racing career and his stats, how they said he could be inducted on this. But then they go, but then he could be inducted on this. And then they told him the whole story about how he made his own chassis and created his own chassis, and now it's what we know as Bicknell Racing Products. And then they said, well, not only that, he could also be put in as a track owner, and they brought up the fact that he owns
Merrittville.
And the other people he's partnered with, they own Merrittville and all that. So there's like 3 different areas of motorsports that he kind of falls into that, 3 different categories.
Yep.
So it was pretty cool. I mean, the guy's done a lot in his career that is still going. So it was pretty cool. It was a nice ceremony. It's the first time I'd ever gone to it, and I'm glad I went. Just especially because Jack being inducted this season, it was kind of cool. But it was just nice to see how they did the whole thing. It was pretty neat.
And Pete, by far and away, is one of the nicest guys in dirt racing.
Yeah,
by far and away.
Yeah, I like Pete. I remember I used to get excited when I was first started going to Utica. It was the late '90s, early 2000s, and he would show up there every once in a while.
Right.
And you'd see the big. I think it was Halvolin was the sponsor at the time. You see the big.
Yep.
You see the big hauler rolling in. You're like, all right, Pete McNell's here. And then he had Del Plank, Pete McNell, and like, I always liked Ronnie Hot Shoe Holmes just because I liked his nickname. But he had all. You'd see the car come in, and you get that excitement that you got when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Whenever somebody like that would show up, not expected.
Yeah.
In Utica, it wasn't necessarily expected. He was there semi-regular.
Right.
He wasn't a weekly guy, but semi-regularly he was there.
What if he did show up? You
were like,
glad.
yeah, all right,
Yeah.
Pete McNell's here. Sweet. You know? So
that's just adds another name to the element of that particular field that night.
Oh, yeah. Yep. And you can't...
Because he's always a threat.
Can't beat that. You can't beat that. And then, of course, the last one, which I'm going to mess the name up bad. Was it Ovid
Jawan, or however they said it at the induction ceremony.
Yeah, my French is terrible, hence why I'm not going with ESS this weekend at Granby and Drummond.
Probably a good decision on your part.
Yeah, it was a great decision on my part, considering nobody there speaks English and I don't speak French.
Yeah,
other than bienvenue.
Nobody there speaks English.
No.
You don't speak French, and you are allergic to beer.
Yeah, Canadian beer. But and that's someone we didn't get to see too much of.
No.
I mean, he raced up in Cornwall.
I only saw him.
There's been
a handful of times.
There's been other Dwarons that are
Joel, right? There's a Joel.
That's the one that I remember.
Yeah.
Is that one?
I saw Ovid race just a handful of times back, like in the 320 days. He was running then, if I'm not mistaken, and I kind of remember seeing him a couple of times following the 320 Mr. Dirt series.
We got something here from Doug Zupan. Mikel Parent.
Mikel Parent. Yeah, that's Zupi. It's French names. It's
you only pronounce half the letters.
It's the guy in the tower, Jerry Brooks. He's the scorer at Utica. He always wants to argue with me and say, it's not Mikel Parent. He goes, it's Michael Parent.
That's right.
Yeah, so Saturday, if you heard me at Fonda announcing ESS, for those of you that want the name Americanized, I said Michael Parent during the race. But, it's Mikel Paran.
Well, here in America, it's Robert Ranger. Over there, it's Robert Ranger.
Yeah, I know. It's the French-Canadian thing. And there were some other award winners that we should probably talk about, too. Good friend, guy, someone I talk to on a regular basis, say hi to. Has a lot of cars in the racing game now. Mechanic of the Year award went to Bill Colton. So
Yep.
that was pretty neat. He does a lot for racing. Seems like everywhere I go, I see the guy. He's always trying to help his guys out with setups.
Well, they were making fun of him when they were introducing him.
Yeah.
How his phone never stops ringing.
No, it doesn't.
His cell phone goes off. every 5 seconds.
And he's like all the chassis builders.
Crazy, so God bless him.
He's willing to help any guy that has a Troyer, whether you got a sportsman or right up through. And that's the same thing with the Bicknell group. Randy Williamson and that whole gang.
That's what you want out of
your
manufacturer.
Yep, you want them to help you. So I think it's pretty neat that he got recognized. Again, along with Alton Carroll Palmer. We you look now, you go to Fonda Speedway. We've said it on the show a million times. You go to Fonda Speedway and you see their names on
the Palmers
on everything.
Elton's been there since I can remember, since I was a little kid.
And sorry, John, not to cut you off there. I'm going to have John give Mr. Donath a call.
Yeah, you should probably ring him up.
Yeah, since we got going there on the Hall of Fame, we got excited. And
we were worried about filling the time since Jarrett canceled. We did just fine. Yeah, you want to blow through the.
Let me do the wins list quick.
Yeah, do you want the?
I want the music, man.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Accord, Andy Bicchetti, 6 times. Getting it done. 6 in a row. Albany, Saratoga, Brett Hearn, Airborne, George Foley, 2nd win. Granby, Elaine, Bouvier, Big Diamond, Dwayne Howard. Thank God he's out there, so I don't have to hear it. Brewerton, Billy Decker. Bridgeport, Jamie Mills, Poker Series on Sunday. Brockville, Matt Billings. Can-Am, $1,000 to win for Brendan Hagan. Canandaigua, Matt Sheppard. Cornwall, Gage Marin. Delaware was H.J. Bunning. 5 Mile Point, Danny Creedon. Fonda Speedway, guy we'll have on a little bit, Danny Varin. Fulton Speedway, Matt Fink, first ever at Fulton Speedway.
Good for Matt.
Glen, The Ridge, Bobby Varin. Grandview rained out. There's 88, Chad Cook. Lebanon Valley, Rob Pitcher. Lernerville, Jared Miley won the late models. Jack Soderman Jr., the 410s. Kevin Bull in the modifieds. Lincoln was the Edge, Brian Monteith. Merrittville was Mike Bowman. Mohawk, Dale Plank. New Egypt, Billy Pouch Jr., Ryan Godown, Twin 20s. Ashwegan Speedway, Glenn Stiers. The Orange County Fair Speedway, Chuck McKee and Hollywood Craig Mitchell. Oswego Speedway, I believe it's Kyle Ebersol. And the ROC Modifieds, that's 2 for him now. He won at Shangri-La 2 earlier in the year as well. And then Otto Sitterly won the Supers, that's 2 for him as well. Pencan, Kevin Hartnett. Port Royal Speedway is part of Pennsylvania, not Speed Weeks, it's Keystone Cup. Greg Hodnett won, and he also was the Keystone Cup champion. Ransomville Speedway, The Doctor. Rolling Wheels, Matt Sheppard. Sealands Grove, Cody Keller, and Jeff Ryan won the late models. Skyline Raceway, Sportsman Division, Kevin Jordan. Spencer Speedway, the Sunoco Modifieds, was Wilbur Hebing. Thunder Mountain Speedway, Eddie White won in a topless sportsman race. Utica Rome Speedway, Pat Ward won the opening night. And then, of course, we all know Bobby Varin, 10 Gs, Victoria, 200, 100 lap modified main event. If it's got sail panels, Bobby Varin's usually right there. Williams Grove Speedway, Fast Freddie Raymer. Woodhall Raceway, John Waters won the BRP Tour event. Billy Van Pelt won the modifieds. NASCAR, Casey Kane won at Charlotte. The Nationwide Series, Brad Keselowski won. Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series, Lucas Oil Speedway. The O Show, Jimmy Owens, or the Newport Nightmare, depending on which one you prefer. Now, this I thought was awesome. The O Show. The World of Outlaw Late Models. Chris Garnis won at I-77. He is not a regular on the series. Yeah, he's a local guy. Fremont Speedway, 2 shows for the All-Stars. Dale Blaney swept them both. World of Outlaws, Charlotte, Joey Saldana. Keeps our winning streak alive.
That's right.
Yep. And then at Lawrenceburg, Chad Kemena picked up the win. The Empire Super Sprints, Jessica Zemkin and Shawn Donath. And the Patriot Sprint Tour, Tommy Wickham won at State Line. And speaking of, you got your USAC stuff, or you want to save that for when we get closer to the USAC driver?
It's up to you.
Go ahead and do it quick.
All right. Well, ASCS National Tour, I-80 Speedway in Greenwood, Nebraska, Dana Nasoski. The next 2 nights, they were at Great American Dirt Track in Jetmore, Kansas. Friday night was Jason Martin. Saturday night was Brady Bacon. Power I National Midgets at I-44 Riverside Speedway in Oklahoma. Andrew Felker swept Friday and Saturday both nights. USAC, 67th, night before the 500. The Midgets were at Lucas Oil Raceway there in Indy. Our guest in a little while, Tracy Hines, pulled the last lap pass for the win on Kyle Larson.
Kyle Larson.
Yeah, the kid, just to beat that kid, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
USAC Sprints at Terre Haute, the Holman Classic, Bud Kading. USAC Silver Crown Series at Indiana State Fairgrounds, the Hoosier 100, Jerry Coons Jr.
Yeah, I like Jerry Coons.
USAC CRA at the Paris Auto Speedway, Mike Spencer. And then the Little 500 at Anderson Speedway, USAC Style Sprints, 500 lap race, Brian Tyler.
All right, so there's our nitty gritty and all of our other stuff. So again, we'll have Tracy Hines on a little bit later. But joining us now here on the 31st lap, winner on Sunday at the Utica Speedway, Shawn Donath. Shawn, how we doing tonight?
Oh, pretty good. Glad to be on. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, no problem, Shawn. After the way you drove that race on Sunday night, you almost made it so we had to have you on here, considering all the things that you're doing. Why don't you take us through that race? You know, you had a fast race car right from the drop of the green flag. You made your way up through. Then you catch Charlie Donk, and, take it from there.
Charlie was he was fast. His line was a little different than mine. He was kind of sliding up, catching the cushion, and my entry speed was a lot faster than his. And we just had a great race. I was able to get under him a bunch of times, and it was a lot of fun. Battle with him. And then we had the yellow, and he took the bottom, which I thought was a smart move on his part. I would have took the bottom, and they restart. We were able to, drag race, and finally ended up making a run off of 4 to squeeze by and pass him. So it was pretty good.
Now, at any point during that race, did you think that the two of you were going to come together and you were both going to go flying over that bank in 3 and 4? Because I don't know how many times you guys, it looked like from my vantage point in the tower that you guys were either touching or so close to touching there might have been an inch between your tires.
We were very close to touching. We never touched them even once, which I was surprised. It was, we were both running the cars for all we were worth, and I was able to drop the right rear tire kind of over the lip a little bit, and when I did, I could really climb into the throttle, and he was kind of sliding up, which is the traditional way to run the cushion, and super close, and he was. A couple of times we both give and take a little bit so that we didn't touch, and it was a lot of fun.
You said to me in Victory Lane after the win, you said you guys set the car up to, like you said to me in Victory Lane, you guys set the car up to run over the top of the cushion like that, or to run with the right rear tire over the berm. How do you do that? I mean, what are you doing to make that possible? I mean, you don't have to give away all the secrets, because I'm sure it's a secret you don't want anybody else to know, but what different things do you guys have to do to prepare for that?
He's got different shock packages that we use for that stuff, different torsion bars. The only thing that was a little troublesome a couple of times was the frame would drag a little bit as it would roll through the top there. But basically just see stuff with the ride heights and shock package that helps it. If I was to go to the middle of the racetrack, it would on entry would really struggle. I couldn't rotate the way I needed to.
Now I know you've got 2 wins here at Utica Speedway. Your last one came in the Doug Emery Motorsports 33. This one gave Ron Mucci his first sprint car win. What does that mean to the team?
I think it's huge. I just think it shows the strength of the guys here. That we come into this team, after the first of the year, and got new chassis with GF1. We got a new shock package this year with AFCO shocks. New engine package was down at Motorworks, my brother. Everything is completely different for us this year, and I think it really just shows the strength of the guys that work on the race cars. We brought all the same guys. We come over and merged with John Trenka and Joe Trenka and Ron Mucci, and we all seem to be working really well together. Joe's getting up to speed now, which is the big thing, and for me it's an honor really to be able to drive for him. He's done a lot of stuff in racing, and for us to give him his first sprint car win is pretty cool.
Looking at the weekend, you had a great Sunday afternoon. How tough is Fonda for a guy that doesn't have a lot of experience there? You haven't run a lot of laps around that place. You didn't do too bad on Saturday. We talked a little bit on Sunday on this show, on the live show. You talked a little bit about how happy you were to get out of Fonda with the finish you did.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot of times you leave the racetrack and you're happy to finish 12th, It's treacherous. It really is. It's deceiving when you should let off and where you should turn. And I've only been there, and I think I've been there maybe 5 times. We weren't very fast in the feature. We've won a heat race or 2 maybe there, but feature time we tend to struggle. And we weren't fast in the qualifying, but I talked to Bobby Varin, and he said, just don't let off. And we were able to get the car so I could drive it by the end of the night and, not let off. But like I say, it's treacherous there. And the guys that go good there have definitely got, their cars mastered, because to get around there as fast as they do, it's tough.
At this point, you guys know you got good equipment after the win on Sunday at Utica Rome. Are you guys, I know we're only a few races in, but are your eyes on that championship again like they were last year?
Absolutely. When we came to Ron's team, that's what he was looking for, was somebody that could, at least contend for a title and, teach Joe as we're doing that, So the main goal is to try to compete for a title and, along the way get Joe so that he can be, getting into shows and get more up to speed. So ultimately we would love to win a title, but it is early, and there's a lot of tough guys, you got, granted, Steve's missed a couple races, so he's kind of going to be behind if he attempts to get going again, and Chuck's not going to compete for a title, but there's a lot of tough guys out there. You look at, Justin Barger, Corey Sparks, and surprises from other guys like Sammy Reeks. It ain't going to be easy by any means.
Now I got to ask you, on Sunday when we were in Victory Lane, Chris, can you hear me or no?
Yeah, you can hear me.
Oh, okay. On Sunday in Victory Lane, you almost tackled me in Victory Lane. Just so you know, now we got a photo on Dirt Track Digest. Caption this. I don't know if you've had a chance to go read that yet, but thanks a lot for that.
I was surprised you were holding me up.
Yeah, for those at home, I was picking on Shawn one day at Rolling Wheels, and I ran up to him, and I jumped up into him, and the first thing he said to me on Sunday when he got out of the car was, "I owe you one." And all of a sudden he comes running at me, and I'm like, what does he owe me? I don't remember hitting him in the nuts or anything. So how, Shawn, obviously, it's got to feel good to get that first one out of the way.
Oh, it's a relief, I'll be honest with you. We just, we were wondering if, I think we were fast out of the box, and which surprised not only us, but I think surprised a bunch of people. And it's definitely a huge relief, and just I feel I'm excited for myself, but more so for my guys. They do a lot of work and take a lot of time from their families so that we can go racing and do this stuff. And I'm just very fortunate to have, be surrounded by a great bunch of guys.
Well, Shawn, before we let you go, we always want to give everybody that comes on an opportunity to thank you. Anybody they need to thank. I know you've hit a lot of them, but anyone else you want to send a shout out to and thank for their support?
Yeah, I got to thank my crew chief, Pete Lewandowski. He's the center of this thing. Ron Mochi for the the opportunity to drive for him. Glenn Lewandowski, Brian Mayfield, TI-22, GF1 chassis, AFCO shocks. They've helped us a ton, and their support is unmatched right now. And my brother Brian down at Motorworks for the stuff that he does with our engine. We're very lucky right now, and I'm very grateful.
Well, bud, we'll let you get back to it tonight. I know you got a long trip this weekend to make, so good luck up there in Quebec. Bring another one home.
Great. Thanks for having us on.
Anytime, Shawn. Have a good night, man.
Thanks, man.
Yep.
So again, Shawn Donath coming off the big win at the Utica Rome Speedway, giving him 2 in a row. There he won back in September. And now
Good for him.
we got this one out of the way. Yeah, he's got something figured out. And it's funny when he said to me, he goes, "We got the car set up to run over the bank." I never knew you could actually set a car up to actually run over the bank. Right. But if you watch that race, him and Charlie Donk, it was it was a fun race to call. It was just like Saturday night at Fonda with Corey Sparks and Jessica Zemkin going at it. It's just a fun race to announce. Anytime you have a good race like that, it's, from the announcer's perspective, it's fun. Yeah. When you got guys sliding up, coming, close to getting into each other and everything else.
Sure.
It doesn't get any better than that. So we got one interview in the books. Coming up next is Danny Varin. We got live chat blowing up over there, Chris, or what?
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
What do you got going on over there?
Oh, they're talking about the time that Mike got whacked in the.
In Victory Lane.
In Victory Lane.
Yeah,
yep,
Tommy Denton's doing an interview. He won the race. And he's just holding the checkered flag and he's doing this with it. One of those things. Whacks me right square in the junk. I mean,
nice.
Yeah. And
so, did you become high pitched Mike?
No, I just kind of, you know how it kind of knocks the wind out of you a little bit. I'm like, what am I going to do? Go down to my knees right there on the front straightaway? I mean, that's got to be Parker bringing up that story. That's had to be.
Oh, we got Zoopy. We got looks like there's Parker bringing that up, and Burgers hanging around. We got like 12 viewers on right now.
Nice. So you want to get next?
Get him on the horn?
Yeah, let's go. Rapid fire. That's how we roll with these things, right? I don't know if people like that, but I like that on.
Did you want?
You want the phone, John?
Yeah. You want this one? There you go, Tiger.
He's going to take his own. No offense. John is not used to doing this.
No, John is out of his element right now.
Yeah, he's out of the element. Normally,
he's absolutely not where he wants to be.
Yeah. Normally, Rich takes care of all the phone calls.
He's on the wrong side of the couch.
You know what? This is like the job that he has at Rolling Wheels. Taking the tickets and stuff. He has a lot more respect for those people now. So now he'll have a lot more respect for Rich. Because he has to call. I remember back in the day when you and I had to do it, and one of us had to sit here and figure out what to say for 5 minutes on our own.
Yeah, so he's got to talk by themselves. Well, we used to use the results.
The results. That was the results.
You could read the list. The whole list, and you had it covered.
Yep, and then we got to the wintertime. We're like, now what do we do?
Yeah.
So, Albany Saratoga's going to have dirt again.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, this week, Glen Ridge goes to Sundays. Since we're on that topic, be interesting to see how that plays out for them. Hopefully,
see how that goes.
Things go well for them. And how about it, Johnny on the spot, literally. Bombus on the spot.
Coming through quick right there. Look at that.
So joining us now here on the 31st lap, the driver that has now won 2 races in a row at the Fonda Speedway, Danny Varin. Danny, thanks for coming on the show.
Oh,
well, hold on a second.
There we go. Should we have there? Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, we couldn't. Yeah. So, Danny, what's it mean to win 2 races in a row at Fonda Speedway?
It means a lot. If you asked our team going into the night whether it was possible, I think we all would have said no. But we had a real fast car that night, so to have all the right brakes and everything go right feels awesome for our team.
You've got 2 wins down at Fonda Speedway. Your dad hasn't won yet. Is there any rubbing going on there with Dad?
No. He was real fast last week. He ended up getting a flat tire. I kind of wish he didn't get a flat tire because our lap times are so similar that I think it would have been one hell of a race for the fans if he didn't get a flat. But he has a fast car, so once he keeps the tires on that thing, I think we'll have a pretty good battle.
Now, what kind of relationship do you guys have at the track? I know you guys park near each other and you talk. Is it, is he still sharing information with you and things that you can do, or is he kind of forcing you now to kind of go out on your own? I know he won't give you an inch. I know he's going to race you like he races everybody else, but
that's the way it should be done.
Oh, that's the way. Obviously the way it should be done. But what's he help you with at the track?
Not too much anymore. I mean, if I need help, I'll go over and ask him, and he'll kind of tell me what he did his car. And but he's definitely laying off on the little tips here and there, and kind of letting us fend for ourselves. We don't even park next to each other anymore to kind of keep things, mutual. But we're fast enough now that we can run against him, and I don't think he really wants to give one of his competitors an upper edge.
What's it like to be one of the only guys, one of the few guys that's actually beat Stuart Friesen this year at Fonda Speedway? Stuart's been on a roll down there, but it seems like whatever you guys have found, you guys got him covered right now.
Well, he's definitely fast. I mean, he finished second to us last week at Fonda. He started right behind us. We had a good, solid race, and he kind of, I guess, just followed us up through. And we were just... our car, it seems like right now, our car might be a little more balanced than his. I'm allowed to be able to run the bottom, the top, and the middle, and it looks like he only can really run the top.
So looks like he's going to work on his car this week, and we worked on our car this week to make it a little bit better. I just hope that we keep on going in the right direction.
By the way, I ran out of time as we were getting into production here tonight. I was going to try and drum up the picture that we had of Danny's car from the Victoria 200.
Oh, with the dinosaur on it?
The T-Rex on the side with the Magneto and the spark boxes.
It's cool looking, isn't it?
Yeah, that's an awesome,
very cool looking.
I remember when Bobby was driving that car, and it was a white car with the red
just red,
and stuff. This is a sharp-looking car, but I tell you, Danny's got it beat with the T-Rex on the side.
How Danny, we mentioned the dinosaur. How many T-shirts have you sold because of that dinosaur? I know every kid that I talked to at the races,
everybody loves that car.
They love that car.
Yep.
Yeah, I have a lot of kids coming up to me. Actually, I was at Stewart's today, and some other guy came up to me, and he called me T-Rex. And he called me over, and I was talking to him, and he said his kid absolutely loved the car.
Nice.
And for a few weeks, we were making more money than we were making racing. So we decided that maybe we should start selling T-shirts.
Well, fortunately, that's turned around for you. That's good to hear.
Do you have toddler sizes? My kid would love it.
Yeah. Yep. What did it mean to finish, Sunday, to come up to Utica Rome and finish top 5? It was basically the red cars. You had Pat, Larry, and Ryan Phelps there, and then, of course, your dad was there, and then you were the other car in the top 5. What did that mean to you?
It felt pretty good. I know a lot of controversies going on about all the red cars, but it felt really good to have. Anytime we roll out of the night with 2 Varins in the top 5, both my dad's team and our team feel really accomplished. We just have to keep on doing it. It's tough with the competitors we have now, but we have really good cars and a really good team on the 00 side and the 93, and there's no reason why we can't just keep on plugging away.
One of the questions I got in on the text line today is, everyone always wants to know, how do you get your car to roll over like it does? It seems like you're carrying that left front a lot higher than everybody else. Is there some secret that you guys have that you can make that car twist and move like that?
Not really. I mean, we're really soft on the right rear. We've been trying to kind of get away from it because it kind of seemed like we're hanging over on the right rear a little bit too long and wasn't transferring the weight and whatnot. So we kind of backed off and put a stiffer bar on the right rear, except for Utica. Utica, we went softer. But it's not really any tricks. I mean, anybody can get it to do it. It's all about shocks. And that's a real good package we got in the 93 car. But that is one of our our little things that we love to do is put that left front in the air, and I think that we sell probably one of the most pictures down to all the racetracks we sell.
Yeah, that'll definitely help sell the photos when you got an awesome looking shot like that with the wheels off the ground. This week, I know the big switch is everybody is talking about Glen Ridge and Utica Rome. Have you guys made a decision as to yet where you'll be on Sunday nights?
Yeah, we're going to head to the Ridge. But I already did make some other commitments with the sprint car that we're going to the 305s up to Utica, so we will be there with the sprint car. And when we're going up to Utica with the sprint car, then we're going to travel over to Malta with the. We're putting a big, new big block together for John Kohler, so we're going to take that over to Malta and go full around with those guys.
So now you're going to go back to 3 nights a week racing. That's got to be exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be nice for a few weeks. We're going to get a night to relax. But 3 nights of racing is what I'd race every night of the week if it was possible. Yeah. But we don't have the finances to do that.
What's your goal here at the end of the season? You got 2 wins at Fonda. How many more do you want? I mean, where do you guys want to be?
I want to win every race from now on, but that's not possible.
That's the right answer, though.
Yeah.
We're just going to go out and we're going to have fun, and hopefully, we end up with top 5s every night, and we're not even worried about the points. Points don't pay like the races do, so we're not even focused on that. We're just going to go out and try to win as many as possible.
How nice is it to work with Ed Munger? I know Ed, he's got some tricks up his sleeve. He likes to do a couple different things with the race cars and things like that. Is it nice to have a car owner where you can kind of bounce off things and he's willing to try stuff and kind of think outside the box?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things is with the 93 car, everything that we do is outside the box. There's nothing that we do that is the same as everybody else. We probably go out of our way to make sure that we're not, out there with what everybody else has, we're buying. We don't do that. We kind of come up with our own solutions, and we do our own thing. And, even our car, that thing is built around us, and we try to make it as easy coming down to as easy to working on it or to race it or whatever we got to do. He understands a lot of things. A real smart guy, and I think that's why we're doing so well. Is we're not the same as everybody else.
Well, Danny, we'll let you go. I'm sure you got a lot of work to do and things like that when it comes to working on cars and stuff. Considering you got a question.
Yeah, I got one thing for you, Danny. I want to know why your old man is kicking your ass in the fantasy league standings. You better get going.
I know. I was beating him for a while there, and then now I'm just getting beat up on him. I don't know. He sort of helped me pick them, so that could have something to do with it. Like he knew that he was gonna do a little bit better than me. So.
All right, sure. so it's his fault then. We'll blame it on him.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep on blaming everything on him.
Well, hey, that's the best way to go most of the time, right? So, so Danny, take this chance. Thank everybody that helps you out. Let everybody know your sponsors and stuff.
Yeah, I got to thank Max Ross and John Kohler and Dan Como. Those are my 3 car owners, and we try to race our cars as much as possible. And I have Countryman Auto over in Cobusco that helps us with all of our oil and spark plugs and all that. And it's just the little guys. JSB, everybody that works on my team. They're all a great group of guys, and I hope we win more.
Well, Danny, we all want to say thank you for coming on the 31st lap. We really do appreciate it, and good luck to you this weekend.
All right, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks, man.
Thanks.
So again, Danny Varin, driver of the Megs R Us 93 car.
I'm glad to see that the kids are taking to the dinosaur.
Oh, I knew.
Because
I knew the first time I saw that car that kids were going to love that car.
I hope he takes it and runs with it because we need to keep these kids interested in our sport, and that will help. That certainly helps.
That is.
It's gotten a lot of attention.
That is one of the coolest looking cars.
It is really cool.
Oh, I've seen.
And it's great for kids.
Oh yeah. There's not one kid you talk to that doesn't look at that race car and go, "Oh,
yeah, that's cool."
And want a T-shirt. I saw a bunch of them at Utica on Sunday with the T-Rex on it. So that was whoever came up with that. That was a great idea.
Yeah.
That is an awesome looking deal.
Yep.
They got more color in the background though. Right now it's just too black and white. They need some more greens and reds worked in there.
You want greens and flames. You want like a fire breathing T-Rex.
You got to start somewhere. Start small. That'll be next year maybe.
Yeah.
That'll be Syracuse.
There you
Syracuse
go.
car. Yeah.
Syracuse body.
So, but good for Danny Varin. I mean, he's been strong. I mean, who would have at the beginning of the season thought that he had 2 wins at Fonda. And his dad hadn't had a win yet. I mean, his dad was fast on Saturday. He was right. His dad was running 4th, I believe, at the time when he got the flat tire. So he was coming in a hurry. And he got all the way back up through the field. I mean, I think he got up to 7th or something like that. So he had a great race car.
Danny's got 2 wins at Fonda, and his father and Matty D have 0 combined.
Oh, Matty D. Even Matty D's another one. And Ronnie
too.
I mean, your track champ from last year.
Those 3 are the 3 you think
It's a
of.
whole different ballgame right now at Fonda Speedway. And if you find something and hit on something, you got to run with it as long as you can. I mean, that's what Stewie did the first, those 4 races that he won.
Yeah, and the few years leading up to that, it seemed like it was always Matty.
It was Matty or Bobby.
One of the two of them had found something that
Yep.
has really worked.
Yep, and that's
now all of a sudden Stewie and now Danny seem to have hit on something.
They hit on something, and once you find it, just go.
Yeah,
go with it and hope it keeps working.
Ride it out.
Yeah, exactly. Ride out as long as it will go.
So, and I know. Let's see, where did he end up? I believe he had a top 10 finish on Monday too.
Sure did.
Yep. So he had a couple, top 5 and a top 10. He had a pretty good weekend.
You know what we should have asked him is if Bobby or Danny have birthdays through the course of the racing season, how'd the birthday parties go?
Well, I want to ask him if his dad, because it's funny. I always wondered, how much does your dad help you if you're beating him? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, you said they're not even pitting next to each other.
Yeah, anymore. I know. I mean, they used to park real close to each other, so now he's kind of got to do his own thing.
I think that pretty much answers that.
Yeah.
Your dad's not even talking to you.
Yeah, don't stay out of my pits. No, no. I mean, it's Security. Good to see, and Bobby's real proud of him, and
absolutely.
I mean, so many times at Fonda, you always wonder. I mean, I've seen Danny leading a race before, and Bobby's coming, and you're like, is Bobby going to let him have it? Nope.
Well, no. Any racer will tell you
you got to earn it.
You beat your own mother if it came down to it.
Yeah, you got to earn it, and that's what Bobby always says. He had to earn it, and now it's good to see he's earning it.
And the thing is, you got to make him earn it while you can, because eventually you ain't going to be able to beat him.
Right. Oh yeah.
So you gotta make him earn it while you can, because it don't last forever.
Yep. Yeah, and right now
there becomes a time where the tide turns, where the kid's beating you all the time, and you can't beat him.
Did Jack ever go through that
with Ronnie?
Yeah,
Ronnie. There were moments.
Yeah.
At Fonda.
Yeah, Jack never had that lull though. I mean, he was always he got to win a couple wins a year.
Get a handful of wins a year. The last
Last few years,
10 years or so.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody will ever catches 150-something, whatever. I don't know the number of the two together because there's small block wins.
Yes, they got.
And there's big block wins.
Right, but the small block wins, there's only 3 or 4.
Yeah, but I know it's over 150 total.
Yes.
So
yes, it is. It's
I don't think anybody
159 or something like that.
Yeah, nobody's going to catch
160.
that. Nobody. Nobody. It's just a different day and age. And we can talk about that with our track prep debate later on.
Yeah,
that's part of the deal.
It's just a matter of somebody sticking around long enough, and that's hard to find these days.
Yeah,
the generation where they drive in those same type of cars for 20, 30, 40 plus years.
Yeah, well, you hear it now.
It's not around
Whenever
anymore.
you talk, to certain drivers, Matt Sheppard, Stuart Friesen, guys like that, they always talk about racing against the guys they grew up idolizing, like Danny Johnson, Alan Johnson.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked on here before, racing is the only sport where you can compete against your idol.
Those guys were racing and winning these races that they do now before Matt Sheppard was born.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So it's pretty awesome.
Now Jack Johnson, Alan Johnson, before, a little bit after that, Brett Hearn came onto the scene.
Yeah.
And Bob McCready was in that mix.
Yep. Yeah, and there's very few sports where you can
Jimmy
race.
Horton.
Yeah.
Jimmy Horton. Yeah.
And Kenny doesn't have a ride now, but he was still racing last year.
Yeah, and he was winning. He was winning down at Delaware.
Kenny
55 car, yeah.
Kenny Tremont.
There's another one.
Cozy. I mean, a lot of these guys are still around.
Dave Lape.
Today. Lape.
Yep. Lape. One shy, man. Just one more. He needs one more for 100 at Fonda.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's been close a couple times.
The problem. He's needed that for 10 years.
Yeah. It's... Who knows if he'll... I hope he gets it. That's something...
For his sake, I hope...
That's something I want to see. As a Dave Lape fan, that's something I want to see.
For his sake and his fans, I hope he does, but...
he's stuck on...
I'm not holding my breath, dude.
He's stuck on that the same way that Bob McCready forever was stuck at
99 at Canandaigua, right?
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, that's...
Look at Zoopy. Zoopy weighs in. He's going to do it.
99 is meant to be
He's
his
looked
number.
good. Lape has looked good a few races this year at Fonda from what I've been paying attention to and seeing. He's looked good. He's been close. They got a new motor program, whatever. They changed something in the offseason, and they're working on it. They're working on it. And I hope he gets it. I just wish I was going to be there to see it. That's all. I'm hoping I'm there. I'm going to go to a few more races this year at Fonda. It was great to be back this week. I did announce the whole night, so that was fun.
Yeah, you weren't supposed to, though, right?
No, well, my buddy Josh. Yeah, well, I was supposed to just do sprint cars, and then the kid that's there, his other half is pregnant, and he needed a little. He wanted a break for a weekend to take her out and everything, and enjoy himself before the baby comes here in a couple months. So he called me, and then she called and left a message, and I was pretty much, that was it. I was done. He used the woman card. He played it. He played the pregnant woman card, and then I was done. There was no choice. You know how that goes.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Don't know what you're talking about at all. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, we've only got one, and at that point, I wasn't really doing all the racing and stuff. I wasn't doing the derby stuff either.
Right.
So
you didn't have to.
So I never got the.
Yeah. I
never got that card.
I've gotten had a girlfriend in racing season, and then by May, I don't have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
that works too.
Yeah. Yeah. That's.
Yeah, especially with my schedule. We're going to go to this weekend? No, we're not. I'm going to be at Fonda if you need me. And that's the thing, people just don't get sometimes that aren't racing people is the amount of commitment and things that you need to go racing, to work in this industry. But, well, we're right back to it, huh, John? So joining us on the line now is from the Midwest is Tracy Hines. And Tracy, we want to say welcome to the 31st lap.
Why don't you try that one more time, Tracy? You there?
Sure.
Okay, there we go. We got you. We got to get the sound figured out here.
Got to remember that Rich always hits the speaker button.
Yes, John forgot to hit the button.
John didn't know that he had to. So
no, nobody told me. Sorry.
It's all right, John. It's all right. It's fine. Well, Tracy,
how we doing?
We're doing great tonight. We're having a good time, and like we said, we really do appreciate taking the time out to come on the show. Now, we know you're coming off a big win this past weekend.
Yeah, pretty good run first in our Parker Machinery Toyota Midget, and hoping to carry it on to the next race at the Hot 100.
I was going through some things, your career, you run basically USAC, anything with no wing and wheels, I think you've pretty much driven. I've seen you run the full-size sprint cars, you run the midgets. What's your favorite?
Well, I'd say dirt midgets are my favorite to drive. Pavement sprint cars are probably my favorite to set up. So, on each end of it, I'm also a owner, mechanic, driver. So I have different aspects when I look at it, what I like to do.
What makes driving a dirt midget so much fun?
They just have so much grip. Compared to a sprint car, you feel like Superman in them. It's hard to spin them out. It's hard to crash them, flip them. Obviously, you can do all of the above, but it's a lot harder to do just because of lack of horsepower and the big tires we have on them.
Tracy, go back to your win on Saturday night at Lucas Oil Raceway. You managed to do something lately that not many people have been able to do. You beat Kyle Larson on the final lap.
Yeah, we tested really well there. Our motor was running extremely well. We had worked on the chassis over the winter and got it quite a bit better. We kind of knew in the garage it should have been better. When we tested it, showed it. So we felt like we had a shot. We were only a 100th off of him qualifying. So we were right there. Just had to wait too long at the end to get it done.
Now you're in the top 5 in all 3 USAC series: the Silver Crown, the Sprint, and the midgets. Is the plan to go for the Triple Crown, or are you just going to take it seriously with 1 or 2 of the series?
Well, the plan is to try to run every race. I think we're 5th in the midget, and we actually missed a race for one of my owner's funerals. So, we'll try. It's just to run as many races as we can. We schedule about 90 to 100 races a year, and that's really how you make a living with short track racing.
Yeah. There's only been, as you know, 2 guys ever win the Triple Crown in the same season. That would be, of course, Tony Stewart and J.J. Haley. What would it mean to you to be able to make that feat happen and be in the same league as those 2 as far as accomplishing that?
Yeah, it would definitely be the pinnacle of my career to try to get it done. But, realistically, it's hard to do with the situation we have where we have all small teams or teams that I manage and take care of. So, we don't have the big funding, the big backing, and the big teams with multiple employees. So we'll do what we can, and, as long as we're out there winning races and having fun, that's part of the game.
Now, your midget owner, I believe, is Parker, right? Mr. Parker owns your midget, is that correct?
Yeah, Bob Parker owns it. Parker Machinery is our sponsor. I got sweat equity ownership in it, and go try to go out and secure the sponsorships for it, and keep it stays at my shop. I take care of them. Between myself, my wife, and volunteer help we can get, we try to keep them maintained as good as possible.
Now, you correct me if I'm wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, one of our, of course, we're being in New York, we're in big block modified country here in the Northeast. And if I'm not mistaken, one of our old modified racers, Ron Smoker, used to drive for Mr. Parker. Is that correct?
Yeah, they used to run I think they won the championship at 16th Street Speedway.
Right.
When they had the old Busch Stadium, it turned it into a 16th Street Speedway, a little dirt track. They had a weekly series there, and they won quite a few races, and I believe won the championship one year.
Yep, that's what I thought. Now, a lot of people don't know, or maybe they have forgotten, that for a few years in the early to mid 2000s, you had a little foray in NASCAR. You ran a truck series for a couple of years. You had a bunch of starts in the Nationwide Series. Do you ever have any aspirations to try to get back to that level, or do you want to stick with what you do very well at and winning USAC races?
Yeah, I could have. When I was there, I took off at the end of 2003, ran full-time 2004, 2005, part-time Busch 2006. And at the end of that year, I just made a decision that I wasn't going to run 15th to 20th no more. I wanted to come back and contend to win races. I had offers. I could have stayed there, but it just would have been more of the, right around maybe the start and park scenario. And I didn't really want to be part of that. I wanted to come and race for a living. That
I certainly understand. You got coming up that next week. One of the reasons why I wanted to have you on today is because you're coming up next week in somewhat of our neck of the woods, going to Pennsylvania and New Jersey for the USAC Sprint Eastern Storm. Are you ready to roll for Grandview, New Egypt, Big Diamond, and Port Royal?
Yeah, we're actually, as you guys call it, we're dropping in a new motor in our short track car. So a little new combination that we had built over the winter that we're hoping is going to be the trick to hook up on those slick tracks up there. I know for the wing guys, they probably think they got a lot of grip. For us, non-wing guys, we really struggle when we come to Pennsylvania trying to hook my particular race car up. So we're dropping in another motor that hopefully will get it done for us.
You mean Levi won't share some tips? You better get a hold of him. He seems to get a handle on these Eastern Storm races every year, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's when they usually get going, and we're up there in the points now, so we're trying to contend and beat them, and that's I'm sure one of the ways that some of the guys do it, is get it hooked up in the slick, and that's where we've been building our system for that, and we actually had good runs there at the end of the storm last year, had I think a third, a fourth, so we were up there in the top 5, I think, the last 3 races, so if we can just carry that same momentum coming in this year, we should be in good shape.
Now, I don't recall during the Eastern Storm, I don't think you guys have ever gone to Port Royal. Have you guys ever been there? You haven't, have you?
No, we actually got rained out. It rained really bad that day when we were headed that way. Most of us had seen pictures of it on TV, and so we're pretty excited to get to run there.
When you come east, which one of those tracks do you like the most? Do you like the shorter track at Grandview, or do you like running on the bigger tracks?
Well, Grandview is generally the most racy track that we go to. Big Diamond is a perfect size, but it generally doesn't have a lot of grip to it. New Egypt is really fast and really hard on our motors. It gets really warm because you're almost always sideways there. And in Port Royal, we haven't really haven't got to go on there, so we're kind of don't know what's going to happen. But I've ran good at New Egypt. I always do good at Grandview, so it's just kind of it doesn't really matter, I guess, big track, short track. We're geared up to try to win on both.
Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
Yeah, to give you a little bit about Port Royal, I've been there a bunch of times in my life. It's a big, fast half mile. I mean, you're going to be able to carry some speed there. So if you're into the speed and moving, you'll have fun there. Looking at your career, you've won a lot of the big races. What big race is there out there that you haven't won that you want to win?
Actually, we were thinking about that the other day. There's only 2 that I haven't won out of pretty much all of the big races that USAC goes to now. I haven't won Belleville. I've been runner-up a few times, but we don't go there anymore as far as USAC. I haven't won Turkey Night for the midgets, and Phoenix is one that's eluded me. I think in the Silver Crown I ran second 5 times there. We don't go there anymore, but I'm hoping the day we go back I can finally secure a win.
The copper, right? Phoenix, the copper?
Yeah, not the copper on dirt, but the copper on paper.
Right, yep. What about, I was fortunate enough to be at the Chili Bowl to see you win in the Mopar car in 2005. Would that be your biggest win?
Everybody asks that all the time, and you've been doing it as long as I have. I don't know if you can pinpoint one big win. I probably always refer back to the one big night at Eldora, one of the 4 Crown Nationals. They were paying a lot of money that year, $25,000 to win the midget, $25,000 to win the sprint car, and $25,000 for the Silver Crown. If you won all 3, you got another $25,000.
Yeah.
Well, I won the first 2. So we'd already pocketed $50,000, and we're trying for the third, and just didn't have as good as luck as we needed. But that was probably the biggest night that I'll ever remember racing, to win $50,000 in non-wing. That's pretty big.
Yeah. That's a lot of money.
That is a nice payday. I know I went to back in 2004. I went to the Mopar Thunder. If I'm not mistaken, that was $50,000 to win too, I think.
Yeah, actually, that Mopar Million, I think it was $100,000 to win, something like that. It was
the Mopar Million was
a big purse. Yeah, we had quick time there, and then ended up getting crashed in the heat and had to come from last to 8th. But
that's right.
Yeah, we don't get that many big paydays in non-wing racing, and when they're there, you got to take advantage of them.
Absolutely.
I know there's been a change this year. Now Oskaloosa is one of those bigger paying shows. I believe was it 10,000 or 15,000?
It's 15 now, right?
I think it's 15, I believe, but don't quote me on that.
It used to be 30.
Do you like the new format where you guys are going to be running a couple of nights now?
You want the political answer or you want the right answer?
You can give whatever answer you prefer.
Give whatever you want.
McCarl and I are friends, but I say most of the competitors, we like to qualify. We like that qualifying format.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that their format is the best if you don't qualify, having the re-qualifiers, they call it, like the Chili Bowl would be. But we went through a lot of tires last year at Oskaloosa. We spent, a lot of teams probably burned up 10 tires at that race last year. Every time we went on the racetrack, they were killing 2 rear tires. So I'm kind of leaving that open to see what happens when we go there. They haven't quite figured out what our points deal is going to be yet, if we're going to run for points or if it's a special event. So that's probably one that's probably the most up in the air for everybody right now.
I know. I look forward to that show. It's one of the few times that I get to see wingless racing. So I enjoy that show. It's a fun atmosphere too. There's the people are hanging out, having a good time, and all that. But
party in the infield.
Yeah, party in the infield. So,
Tracy, before we let you go, touch back on the Eastern Storm. I know in the past few years that you guys have been coming out here. Every once in a while, there might be one or two of you that will jump in the couple of nights that ARDC is with you guys. Do you have anything set up, any plans to run a midget during the Grandview or Port Royal show that ARDC is with you guys?
No. I've done that a couple of years ago. It's just, one, they don't pay a lot for us to bring our cars back. And I do have friends that have cars there and actually stay with the Koblars when we're there. But they got a thing where if you have not ran with them, you have to start at the tail. You have to start dead last in the feature.
Right.
So it really makes it hard because their features are sometimes only 20 laps. So it's pretty hard to win from dead last.
Gotcha.
Especially when you got Buckwalter starting in front of you. He seems to his weekly paycheck on some of those races.
He is definitely the man when it comes to ARDC.
Yeah.
All right, well, before we let you go, I want to make sure you get time to plug all your sponsors and stuff, and we thank you for being on the 31st lap. So go ahead and plug whoever you want to plug.
Well, just, hopefully fans will come out and see us and buy T-shirts. We'll be there with the number 4 MP Environmental Services car, and hopefully we'll put a good race on for everybody.
Okay. Well, thanks again, Tracy. I appreciate you being on with us.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Did you have something to say?
No, and there goes Tracy Hines.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Now, is he going to have a dinosaur of some sort on his car?
Honestly, on their cars, I don't think there's enough room to put anything like a dinosaur on there. Where are you
not a lot of room.
Maybe put it on the hood,
tail tank or something,
or on the hood. Yeah, but those cars, they don't have a wing on top where you can put the dinosaur.
No, they do not.
Yeah, that Oskaloosa deal is going to be interesting because it's a 2-day show now.
Yeah,
I know they normally slick it off, so in theory the racing gets better.
Right.
On Monday, it's normally really fast because they do the front row challenge, and I don't think they want anybody to do it, so they make it so it's fast.
Exactly. Yes. They don't want anybody coming and from the tail like Hall did.
Right, which kind of leads us into our debate topic for the night.
Look at you.
You like that? You like that?
Oh, let's do our drop.
What a segue.
First.
You got a drop for the debate?
Yeah, well, we do have to do the plugs here.
Okay.
This is the 31st lap. We go live to tape every Thursday night, and the show's up almost immediately after. So be sure to check us out. If you don't keep the late hours, visit fingerlakes1.com on Friday, or visit podcast.fingerlakes1 or 31stlap.com. There's a host of podcasts available, including The Sauce, starring Tony Sometimes, local music coverage on the evolution of Eric Jensen, Tiffany Collinsworth's Finger Lakes Look Ahead, and the Sports Talk Jocks, Dog and Paulie, which goes up every Wednesday. If you want to see it as it happens, visit fingerlakes1.tv or look up 31st Lap. If any of our listeners want to call in, feel free to ring us at 315-729-3999. We encourage everybody to visit the pages. Check us out on Facebook. Hit us up on Twitter. We're on iTunes. It's all, as we said, 31st Lap. Check out Stitcher Radio. We're up on there. And then all the content is also going up on YouTube. So be sure to get out there, check that stuff out, say hi, and let us know where you want to see us, because we are putting together a live season. So
and hopefully in the next few weeks we'll have that schedule. We'll be able to get that schedule together and get her done. But getting back to our debate topic, I'm sure this will heat up in the chat room over there.
Before we go, one little side note while we're just coming off of Tracy Hines. I know I had mentioned when we were talking to him how he had driven in the truck series before.
Yeah.
The truck he used to drive is the ThorSport machine, the 13 that Johnny Sauter drives now, which is
the team, right?
Very good team.
Yeah.
Very good team. You know, and Tracy came in there when they were kind of just building whole organization. Because that whole shop, they're based out of Sandusky, Ohio.
Oh, wow. So
they're
it's
not
a little
in Charlotte.
They're not in the Charlotte, North Carolina
they're not in
area.
the whole NASCAR world. So they do the whole thing out of a different area, a whole different area. So I just wanted to throw that out there. That's the truck that he used to drive, was that 13 ThorSport truck.
Nice. Okay, so the live chat's going to pick up here. The debate that we want to have this week, it was funny, we were talking about this in the tower at Utica on, I think it was Sunday afternoon. I don't know. This is how I come up with these debate topics. Normally is we're having a discussion, I'm like, ooh, save that. Don't talk anymore. Just stop talking and we'll talk about this on the show. We're talking about slick tracks, and when I was doing the redraw on Monday, all the drivers comment how they want this track slick so they can race. And one of the things we all talk about on message boards and in racing and all around is, why are New York tracks so slick? You even heard Tracy say it with the Pennsylvania tracks.
Yes.
Right. Why are they so slick?
All the Northeast tracks
are all so slick. And what is it?
It's because that's what the drivers want.
Well, we were going to...
Is it?
We always have this debate. Is it the cars, because the aerodynamics of our cars that pack the tracks, or is it the Packer trucks that we use here? Because nowhere else have I gone outside the Northeast do you see those big monster truck Packer trucks like we use. I mean, is it that?
It's at the request of the drivers. They like the slick tracks in this area. That's what they're used to. It's very easy on equipment. It's the slipping and sliding. They just, for whatever reason, our Northeast drivers like that style racing. I personally am not a huge fan of it, but
I don't mind it. I thought that the race. I would say that Utica's track got pretty
slick.
Utica wasn't an entertaining race. Here's my problem with slick tracks.
All right, I'm going to start the stopwatch. You got 30
because
seconds.
Slick tracks, as we all know,
because slick tracks make it hard to pass, and you can't score passing points.
That's what everybody in New York, in this Northeast area, that's what they do. Their racetrack is to make them slick track because that's what the drivers want. I understand that it's easy on equipment and all that. Here's the risk when you make the track slick every week. You risk going over that fine line where it rubbers up and it becomes one groove. That's where you have the problem. Then you have no passing.
I'm going to argue with you on the other side of that,
Everybody's huggy pull. You slip out of line, 10 cars go by.
I'm going to argue on the other side with it. You have that track tacky with a big old berm on top. What happens? Everybody gets on the berm and there's...
It looks like a sprint car race.
Yeah, well, I've seen a few of those where it rains. And and it's nothing you can do. It doesn't matter if it's a modified race, a sprint car race, or whatever. If it rains and that track has got a berm on it and everybody's pounding that cushion, there's going to be no passing. So it works both ways.
That's all. All I ask is that there's a little brown. It doesn't have to be black, and it doesn't have to be throwing mud in your face every single lap the whole night. But I just ask for a little brown. That's all.
Well, how do you do that? I mean, again, we're not track prep guys, so we don't know.
Right. I don't know the secrets to
first of all, you got to get a good base in it. The big thing is getting the base.
Yeah.
The top clay doesn't matter nearly as much as the base.
What's underneath? What's coming back up through? Yeah,
you got to get that. The heat of the track is going to make a capillary action. It's going to draw moisture up from the bottom, and that's what's
there you go. This is the science.
Yeah, I don't know the technical stuff.
He's teaching a science class over here. Pay attention.
Nice.
Never mind. Forget it.
No, we're serious.
Forget it. No, that's why some tracks use it. They talk about using like a sawdust base, or they put wood chips underneath it. Is that
I've seen that before?
Tried that at Weedsport.
That stuff's gonna. That's in theory. That's going to
keeps the dust down.
Moisture.
Right.
It's going to maintain moisture and all that.
Or if you put too much in it, cars come out with wood chips in their in their rock guards.
Yeah, well, I've seen that before too.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
or I've seen laundry detergent put into surfaces calcium.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's legal now and what's not
legal.
legal.
All kinds of different
calcium. I don't know if it's legal or not.
I don't think you can do calcium up here, but the calcium. The reason the calcium is the calcium is going to draw moisture out of the air. So when the calcium is
gets in the track and
that'll draw moisture out of the air and it'll keep the track the top of the track.
See,
flat.
all in all, I prefer a track that's got a little bit of bite in it. I don't mind the slick. Like Utica gets slick. It does. It
as
can
long
get
as it stays
real
racy,
slick.
it's okay.
But the thing with Utica, even when it's slick, we kind of talked about this on Sunday or on Monday. Even when that gets slick, you saw Sunday night it was slick, or Monday night it was slick.
Yeah, very.
By the time once they burned off but there was multiple grooves you could run, the
raceable.
top, the bottom, the middle, right? And that's the thing that you get with Utica.
But that's the thing. Like I said, it's hard to find that fine line.
Fonda
and
was
over
slick.
That edge.
Fonda was slick on Saturday night.
Fonda's always slick,
right? But the top and the bottom groove were both still there.
Right,
and that's what you get.
Yeah, you got to really be careful because there is a fine line. You get that black slick. How do you keep it from rubbering up? And that's what. How many times have we been to a rubbered up race? It sucks.
That. But most of the time, that happens during the daytime. That's a daytime.
Yeah, the daytime show is a whole different topic.
I don't think there's any way to make a. Everybody complains about daytime shows.
Not without tearing it up after every
how
3 races.
I mean, even at Knoxville, where I think the track prep is second to none, they use pickup trucks to pack the track. I think is the way to go. That's my personal opinion on it. But
why do you think that?
I like that because it doesn't overpack the track, so the moisture that's in there can stay there. Yeah,
I personally like the sheep's foot myself.
Well, yeah, that's another thing you can do to keep it going. And I think the pickup trucks, I just like those because I think when you use the big monster trucks, it just it packs it into almost so
real
hard.
Tight.
Yeah, and
like
it's hard to get any moisture.
Packing a carton of ice cream, you keep packing it until it's full.
Right. And you just can't get any the moisture to come out. Not that I'm not saying it doesn't make good racing or whatever. I'm just saying that I prefer
it very
that
hard.
Right, I prefer that because the track still gets a little ripply in it. It still keeps the moisture in it all night long. You can still see some moisture in it, and that's just it's not overpacked. The moisture can come back up through.
The harder it's packed, the more chances, the better the chance it's going to get black and slick.
I mean, I mean, growing up, everybody says tracks weren't dusty when I was a kid. Well, when I was growing up, I don't remember them using big monster trucks on the tracks. I remember them using.
No, when I was a kid in the 70s, calcium was the thing. Everybody put that.
They put that down, and then they had like old Chevy Caprices with big monster mud tires on them, and that's what they drove around and packed the tracks with. I don't know if was it the same for you out here.
No, absolutely not. I remember as a kid going to Canandaigua, and what they used to pack the track was the Terragator. It's the 3-wheel water truck.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that was it. And there was that, and there was two big, and they probably still use both of them. I mean, they're coming,
you're right.
Those big tires started to come in like the 90s, the middle
early
90s.
Yeah.
And I get what they're trying to do because they got the big bar tires on them, and those are supposed to kind of work the same way that
they cover a bigger surface too.
Right. And they leave some pockets so that you can get some water into it and stuff like that, but it doesn't do the right thing. I mean, we were at Black Rock before, for a night or two, I don't know. And Mike didn't even pick up on that. Just kept looking at you, Mike.
Yep.
And you'd walk across the track, and it was weird. Eldora did this when we were out there with the modifieds too. The top was sealed and hard, just like you would expect Rolling Wheels or Cuyahoga County to be. But when you walked across it, you could feel the first few inches would move over the top of the water that was underneath it, and that water table, for lack of a term, that moisture underneath would work its way back up through, and it wasn't just in one or two spots. It was underneath the whole. It was underneath the whole track, which ended up giving you a chance to move up.
Yeah,
it gave you some grip, it gave you some options, and Utica was and Can-Am are two of the slickest tracks that I've ever seen. And I don't say that as a criticism.
No, because the racing's still good at both places.
The racing was phenomenal.
Oh, the racing was very good on Monday. Yeah. And in most cases at Utica, it is. Because Utica is, for me in New York State, that is one of the slickest tracks on a consistent basis.
Oh, yeah.
But they are usually pretty racy. But we have all seen it where it doesn't happen all the time. But there's that occasion where it goes over that fine edge, and
I've seen a daytime show where we started in the daytime and it was hot, and ended up taking rubber in the beginning of the. I don't remember which one.
Hot laps.
It's called hot laps.
Yeah, no. It was about 25 laps into the feature. It started because it was so hot that day. I believe it was the Victoria that
it was one of the 200.
Tim McCready won it.
Yeah,
and it took rubber in the first 25 laps. And it was, but I've been at Canandaigua, I've been at Fulton, where you run during the daytime. It's just almost impossible to keep the moisture.
Again, that's a whole different topic, that daytime racing.
I made the comment in jest on Monday is this was one of the coolest slick track races to actually watch because you could see it.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of dust.
Right. There wasn't any dust.
Not a lot of dust.
No. There's some really good points coming across here. Sheep's Foot, as you mentioned, was popular in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
From the crew standpoint, the black, smooth, slick tracks are the way to go. Less wear on the motors. The guy with the most horsepower doesn't always win.
And I get that. I get that.
That the select track, the guy with the best setup is the guy that wins. It's the guy with the best setup, the best handling race car. Black slick is good as long as it keeps the dust down. And some of the guys that were running sportsman cars like the dry slick tracks. And Doug Zupan probably came through with the best one. He said Utica Rome has real clay. That's a big difference. A lot of other tracks don't have real clay. A lot of them just have dirt as the surface. Utica Rome is pottery clay that is certified for use on landfills, which is, I mean, if you want to talk about high-end dirt, that's
high-end dirt.
High-end clay. Yeah.
High-end dirt.
Yep.
Yeah, and I guess it's all in your preference. I've seen some good races, where you have the berm way, way out, and it kind of equals out. I mean, that's what Eldora normally gets. You mentioned Eldora. It gets that berm, and then it's literally the wall.
Well, Eldora doesn't really have a berm. It's the wall.
Well, the wall,
I think it was Danny Johnson and Bob McCready when we were out there for the modified, the Dirt Series race. They were running right up at the top, and every now and again you could see the back bumper would catch
Scrape
against
off
the concrete,
wall,
and it would just spark. And the late models are even cooler because they've got the taller back end and stuff like that, and it would just shower sparks. And it would be so cool because they'd have the option to run way up there. And that's one of the other things that some of these guys are saying on here is it depends on
the track.
What it is. Yeah. Look at New Egypt. We talked with Ryan Godown a week ago, and he talked about how fast and heavy and racy, and then Tracy Hines mentioned it.
Fast.
But when the tour goes there, when the tour has gone there, and dirt car modified tour has gone there, that track is dry and slick.
It's summertime, and it gets drier and slicker.
And slick.
I mean, we've been there. We went there last year for the ROC race in March.
Yeah, and
it was rough and heavy, but again, it rained all week. And I love New Egypt because it seems like even when it does get slick, there's still bite somewhere.
Yep.
Like you can search and search, you'll find it because that place has got 10 different grooves, and that's what I love about that place.
I'm sure Dirt Car has a hand in how.
Well, I don't know.
Suggesting how they prepare the track. I don't know how that works.
Well, look at this offseason. There was a discussion between Bubba Raceway Park and USAC.
Yes.
Some disagreement over
in February.
Yeah, how do you want the track?
Because USAC told him how to prepare it, and he prepared it a certain way, and then they were all complaining.
They were all mad.
It was all rubbered up.
Right.
And it became one groove or something.
Right. So it's all.
So these sanctioning bodies, when they come into a racetrack, they have a hand in how their drivers want the track prepared. But New Egypt is a different animal, I think, because their clay is completely different. New Egypt kind of reminds me of the Midwest gumbo.
Yeah,
it's a lot darker clay there.
Yeah, it's like it's
in Pennsylvania, you got your red clay. Here, you just got the brown clay. Or
That's not true. That's
Pennsylvania's
not true.
got a lot of deep red clay. New Egypt has got that dark stuff. It's real. It's almost like black. It reminds me of gumbo.
Yeah, it's like the blue clay, like deep clay.
And if you go ask Mike, you go out to Iowa and it's all
Waterloo
black
Raceway, Maple Grove Speedway, Waterloo Raceway. In Waterloo was a red clay track.
Was it red clay?
That was red clay. Here. Yeah, at the fairgrounds, right? Like 2 blocks.
I've driven by it. Yeah, I've driven by it, but I never saw a race.
I've driven around it at all hours of the night before. Shut the headlights off and go pretend you're Walt Mitchell.
I'm lost.
Cranking. Yeah, I don't know how I got here, sir. It's okay because our resident historian is weighing in over here, Doug Zupan, noting that after Davis 172 questions who knew dirt could be high end. Zupi reminds him that the Utica Rome clay was deposited by glaciers in the Ice Age, and also reminded us that there's no more pavement under Utica Rome. It was all bulldozed up in the winter of 1979.
What effect does that have? Does that change things? I know Fulton has pavement underneath still.
Yeah.
Well, Albany, Saratoga. The water's only going to be able to get down so far before it hits the
blacktop.
The blacktop, and then the blacktop's going to act like drainage tile. It's going to shoot the water down. There's no place for it to sit into. So you need to kind of keep an eye on that because if depends on how much base you have and how much you're intending to hold on to.
Right.
It'll always run off after a certain point if you oversaturate it.
Yeah.
Look, he's defending himself now. He's like, I'm not kidding.
Yeah, I know he's not. I know he's not.
No one's doubting him. He's a wealth of information.
We're just talking about it. That's all. Soupy, don't worry.
Do you have a timestamp on that glacier?
Yeah. The Ice Age. Way before you and I were even thought of, buddy.
Was there a woolly mammoth that came with it?
It's possible. It's possible. It's buried in the pond in the infill of Utica.
Nice.
It was actually.
Is that what sprays the track? You don't have a water truck?
No.
Dave Lape used that glacier.
Yes.
He used that as counterweight.
Oh,
counterweight.
Dude, now he's gonna cry.
I know he's gonna be all over it right now.
Oh, don't pick on Dave Lape, man.
Not
you guys,
Dave, we're picking on Zoop.
I know you are, but still. But yeah, so I mean that's always an interesting discussion. I always like to go different places and see different track preps.
Oh, I love.
New York. It's funny though.
Charlotte's a ball. Have you ever watched Charlotte?
I've been there when it's been both.
Yeah.
I've been there when it's been
real red clay, dark red clay.
You know what? Here's what annoys me. I watched that race this what was it?
Yeah,
Friday, Saturday night. My dad DVR'd it. I watched it Sunday morning when I was writing my ESS press release.
Yep.
And
is that why I didn't get one?
No, it got sent out. It was out before noon, actually. No, but I watched that race, and the last few races I've watched from there, it's been dry, and it doesn't have, it's got a little berm on it, but it's not like I remember when I went there. Mm-hmm. When I went there, it was like pound on it. I mean, it was heavy. It was just stupid fast. You could run any groove on that place. You could go anywhere you wanted.
Right.
And it was awesome. And now, I'm not saying it's not good. It's just not what I remember when I was there.
I've seen that place be awful.
It can be rougher than rough. Yeah, and I've seen it blow tires in 5 laps with the modifieds there last year, 2 years ago.
I've been there in person 3 times, and the place was just fantastic. The groove was smooth, no dust. I mean, literally no dust.
Yeah.
Were you
and it was great racing. But then I've seen it on television where they put too much water on it, and it ruts up, and it becomes real rough.
And it's a freaking cornfield.
I can remember watching or listening on Dirt Vision the first time they ran Thunder Alley.
Yeah.
When they put the clay down, it was the first race. I think
I was there that day. It was the worst. I hate to say this. It was the worst race I've ever attended in my life. It was.
I remember listening. Everybody kept braking because it was so
disappeared
rough.
in the ruts. I mean, Alan Johnson come down the front stretch and hit this big, huge dip on the front stretch.
Yeah.
And the car disappeared. Then he come back out of it. And doing wheelies and jumps.
Right. And for those out there, Thunder Alley now is it's Evans Mills again, I believe, and it's pavement again. But
it was.
I never got to go there when it was dirt.
Me and Burkhart went there.
Disappoints me. I wish I had gone. I lived in Middletown at the time, and I was listening on Dirt Vision.
It was April. It was brutally cold.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. You're running up north. That's cold.
Canandaigua had some nights that were like that.
They
were in the process of putting a new surface down, and it would just peel right up. It would peel up in ribbons. Down at With Raceway, when I was down in Virginia, they had a bunch of sedans with just regular tires or some street stock style wider tires and stuff, and that's what they use for their Packers. And they didn't even have anything special in terms of a water vehicle, and that always did a real nice job. And that track was the clay was real silty. It was real abrasive.
Right. I mean, a lot of it really depends on the
clay. Yeah,
how much moisture does it hold? Some clay holds more moisture than others.
Thunder Alley was the Baja modified series.
Oh, it was terrible.
And nothing can be worse than Rolling Wheels.
That was simply the
That's all commented on the chat.
Roughest track I ever saw in my life.
We don't want to pick on Rolling Wheels too
bad.
They've done a lot of work the last couple of years, and they've got it to where it's fairly racy, and you can have a decent race.
Well, you can pass.
Here's the thing: the dirt car. I think one side of it, they've done a great thing with Rolling Wheels. The facility right now is fantastic.
Oh, it's top notch.
It's very, very presentable.
You walk in, it's nice. It's a nice looking place.
Do they have flowers in the bathroom? Just asking. It's just a question.
They don't in the men's room, but men don't care about that.
It was pretty nice over at Utica.
As far as the surface, obviously that's one thing we know.
I think it's tough.
Need to work on.
I think it's tough there with the surface. It's such a big track.
It's a very big track, but they don't only race there a few times.
Right.
A year.
You don't.
That doesn't help.
They don't.
Yeah.
They
it's
don't
not
open
being
it
prepared
up
every single.
Well, you're
week.
not opening it every week to work on it. You're not.
Yeah,
I mean, what would be
You're working on it every single week.
Exactly, and that's the difference. I mean, that's always going to make a difference. I really
think that is the difference.
It's going to be a difference. How can it not be? If you're running someplace every week it's getting graded, it's getting torn up, it's getting that.
In its heyday in the 80s, I don't know what Donnelly did, but maybe he was over there working on it all the time.
It's possible.
Even though they weren't racing only 7 or 8 times.
I don't know.
They did race a little more then, too, than
they did.
Right.
Well, at one point, they were a weekly track.
Well, yeah, years ago they were, right.
Way back in the track.
Everything's relevant.
I mean, size, I'm not going to, I don't know if I really give any credit to that because it's still clay, it's still an oval. I don't know if I agree with that. I'll argue that point a little bit because size is size. I mean, Bridgeport's a big track, and I don't have any problems keeping the surface on that.
Now what they've done there at Bridgeport, Hoffman's got it slick, so you can pass. I mean, that was the big thing there. That you would. I've been there when it's heavy. Holy jeez, do they fly around that track? If anybody's never been to Bridgeport, it is a big 5.8. When I say big 5.8s,
it is
fast. Huge.
It's enormous. We were there with a few times. Late models one time, and they were it was crazy.
It's ungodly fast.
Yeah.
The one I did read just the other day that somebody was complimenting.
Was it Jesse
Doug
Hill?
Hoffman and his crew
I can't remember.
Slowing down the racetrack.
Somebody won with a small block.
To slow it down.
They won with who won with the small block? I was just reading it a couple weeks ago.
It's way too fast. And
I want to say was it Jesse Hill? I can't remember. I don't think that's right. But they won with a small block. Right. I know that. And for there to win with a small block, if you've been there, that's impressive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I know they got a sprint car race coming up down there, too. 410s. That would be something.
Yeah.
If it wasn't 5 hours from home.
Yeah, wasn't Darren Pittman promoting that? On his
it's his car owner that's doing it, Michael Hefner. Yeah. So I would love to go there and see 410s because holy jeez.
Yeah, I've never been. I've only been there for modifieds a few times I've been there.
Yeah, I went down last year for the inner circle. They have an inner loop quarter mile. That was awesome.
I so badly want to see that, but they're not doing it now.
No.
That's one thing Dougie's not doing is the.
Oh, that was awesome.
I love that little bull ring. I saw a video of it.
It was so narrow, and it's just kind of whip it in there, slide around. It was cool. It was different. Exactly.
That would have been perfect for like micros and midgets and stuff.
Well, that's what they run on it. Normally.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And it was such a contrast to what you saw otherwise.
Oh, because it's
a big track.
Yeah, there it's like
because the big track. When you're in the grandstands in Bridgeport, I mean, to try and give you perspective, the cars look like dots on the back.
Yeah,
they are so far away.
Yeah, well, you know,
and they come back right now.
Yeah.
The one thing that I always, the few times I went to Bridgeport, the one thing that I always didn't like that I complained about when I left there, the place was cool, wicked fast, but their backstretch lighting shined right in your eyes in the stands, and it made the when the cars were on the backstretch, it made it very difficult. All you see is like silhouettes going down the backstretch. It was because the lights were right in your face.
Yeah, so they're on the outside instead of the inside. Yeah, I know. I don't know how it's working out, but I know they're changing the pits down there too. They're starting to pit along the track on turns
1 and 2.
Yeah, so you can actually see the haulers and stuff, which I always think is
anybody
that does that
used to be off the backstretch.
Yeah, those pits were so far away.
Oh my god!
From the grandstands, it was a mile away.
Oh yeah, if you were riding, what stunk is the lap counter was on the front stretch, but the pits were on the back stretch, so it was like,
yeah. By the time you get over there, they're already loaded up.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I was there with the World of Outlaws. We were up in a tower, and so you had to get down out of the tower, and then you're like, by the time I get over there to catch up with any guys that finish, they're going to be gone.
Yeah, they're on their way home already. You know, they're halfway back to Arkansas at that point. You know, I mean, it was a hike there. It was a hike. But
I remember thumbing a ride through turns 1 and 2, and when I got to turn 2, I was like, I'm like not even halfway there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The pit area there was huge. There's no doubt about that. Yep. I hope Hoffman does well there. I mean, that place. You know, New Jersey doesn't have much left in terms of racing.
Two tracks. 2 dirt tracks.
They got New Egypt,
and Wall Stadium,
and then New Jersey Motorsports Park, the road course there, and that's really it.
Right, that's right.
So Wall is fun. I mean, I don't know how we got onto this from leaving
This is what happens when we do the debate topic. We end up talking about so many different things.
Yeah, well, we got to New Jersey and all that, so that's kind of how it goes. But if you've never been to the Turkey Derby at Wall, that is fun.
Someday I'd like to.
You know, I'd love to do. I know nobody goes, but they do run our dirt modifieds.
There.
Yeah, Stewie's won. Yeah. You know, he won both races last year. But there's a few of our guys that go down there and run. I think that would be cool to go to. I don't know if we need to do a live broadcast there, but I've gone down.
When is it?
It's
Thanksgiving.
Weekend after.
I pieced that together.
Weekend after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I thought it was Thanksgiving weekend.
It is. Thanksgiving's Thursday, and then that's the weekend after.
That will be the weekend after Thanksgiving.
Well, Thanksgiving is the weekend. It's just a long weekend.
Yeah, but it would be fun. We leave Friday morning. Zupi normally goes with me. We've gone on the last couple of years.
I know.
And they run the pavement modifieds on Saturday. It's pretty awesome. I mean, I think it would be cool to do, but I don't know what anybody else thinks about that. But
I'm game.
I would love the Turkey Derby is freaking awesome.
I'm fine. I know my wife won't have a problem with that.
Yeah, she can't wait to get rid of you.
Yeah, shoot you for going away on Thanksgiving weekend. It's fine with me.
I'm sure we'll be able to make that happen. We should probably.
Maybe we'll.
I mean, there's a three things right now that we've established. One, that the people on the live chat are not happy that we have somehow slipped off the slick tracks and they're not talking about this. Second, we're going to do a couple live events
somewhere,
and it's looking a lot like ESW and SDW.
Yeah.
And now in the equation, we want to go to New Jersey.
Possible. All right.
Make the phone
so
call.
That definitely fits a slick track because you know what, pavement's slick if it's sunny out, right? Isn't that how that works, or is it the other way around?
Say that again.
Wait, if it's. You know, this would have been a question for Jarrett Andretti because I don't know.
When it's hot and sunny, pavement tracks get slick. The oils come out of the pavement.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's why I don't understand. I don't understand.
It gets hot and slick.
You hear NASCAR guys talk on the track slippery, this and that. I don't understand how it's pavement.
That's because it gets hot.
I know.
Because it gets hot. Plus with the rubber on the racetrack, all those.
Right. I mean, because those guys run. I mean, they'll go out and practice in the morning, then midday they'll practice again. And then in the afternoon, they'll practice again.
That's why the nighttime races are so much faster. They run faster speeds.
Yeah, because the track's cooler.
The track's cooler. It doesn't take as much.
And the cars are running. The air is cooler. The cars
run fast. Yeah. So there. We're back to slick track and all that. So ultimately,
cooler air is harder to get through because the molecules are more dense.
Okay, now we're pushing it.
There's water in it, right?
But you get more.
So what are we going with on the slick track debate? Basically, we're going to say type of clay. Is that what we're going to?
I think it's type of clay and preparation.
Preparation and the clay. Yes.
Preparation, because if you don't have clay, then there's nothing to prepare.
Right, you get topsoil and dust.
You want to go back to the whole clay thing. Fonda, for a great example, people always complain all the time. It's river silt. It's river salt.
But it's slick.
Fonda doesn't have the greatest as far as clay goes. You want to analyze clay. That's not a lot of clay in that racetrack.
Well, not when the river's been washed it away the last 2 years.
Exactly. So that'll
But it's still slick and it's still good racing.
It still does get slick, but again, that place is a little different sometimes than some other racetracks.
All right, so we're going to put that one to bed now?
I think we're good.
Okay.
Kenny GNY just said Mallet has been breathing too much methanol. I don't really
I breathe
know.
as much as possible.
I don't know what exactly.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, I love walking through the pit area in a 410 sprint car race after heating the engines, and they're all just running, and your eyes are watering out of your head from the methanol. Nothing better.
Dude,
yes, I have sniffed too much methanol. I'm fine with that.
The smell of alcohol, man, it's like the best smell in the world.
Oh, there's nothing better than that.
You two are talking about two different things.
No, same thing. Methanol, alcohol, it all goes together. So what do we got? What do we got for one last segment here? Do we have we doing driver of the week this week or what?
Well, we have somebody asking if this is great.
This is gonna be great.
The lighting. They're talking about the lighting on you, and
you
look
like our umbrellas.
You look like Dr. Evil, and they're waiting for you to start stroking a cat.
There's this better if I do that. There, I'll help them out at home. Thanks a lot. Glad I can be of.
Are your cats got no fur?
No, my cats have fur. Thank you. They have not been cryogenically frozen any time in the last 5 years.
And Manny Cuse, who keeps weighing in, and I'm pretty sure that's Rich posing as someone else. Manny Cuse keeps keeps advising that we truck in Montezuma Muck and see how slick it gets then. So that would pretty much be what
Montezuma Muck.
Yeah.
Well, they did dig some trenches in there. I wonder what they did with the dirt.
Kenny G says you look like Kojak.
Oh man,
you probably don't even know who Kojak is.
Yeah, I remember it way back in the day. Yeah, I know of it.
Kojak with a Kodak.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Terry Savalas or whatever. His name is.
Yep. All right, so you want to do a driver of the week?
Yeah, we got to do that. I'm sure that Bombas has a pick.
Who's your pick for driver of the week, Bombas?
Howard.
Driver of the week. You know what? I'm going to go with our guest on making an amazing pass. If you guys get a chance to see the highlights of the night before the 500, the USAC midget race at Lucas Oil Raceway out in Indy.
It's a driver of the week, not plugs.
With Tracy Hines passing Kyle Larson, who
you put the link up if you haven't seen it.
Go to USAC Racing and watch the highlights of that race. It was an amazing feature.
All right, I'm going to go with Bobby Varin. He won at the Ridge on Friday night, and then he won $10,000 on Monday.
Kenny G says the same thing. I'm not even going to think about it. Matt Sheppard did get 2 wins,
but 10 G's.
10 G's is a lot of money.
Yep.
Bobby Varin's my pick.
How's that all right, Bombas?
Well, you guys never go with me anyway, so that's why I got to go with somebody different.
I know. Well, no, we agreed last week. Who did I pick? Frank Cozy.
That's because I finally said the hell with it. I'm just going to agree with you guys because you never agree with me anyway.
Don't worry. 1 week when
now
you know what? When
Davis weighs in.
When Dwayne wins the Freedom, you're going to have to.
Yeah. I'm going to laugh.
You ain't going to have a choice.
We'll see.
He's probably
50,000 reasons why you're
going
to pick him.
Listen, don't count your chickens before they're hatched, pal.
Don't worry.
Don't count them before they're hatched.
Chickens are already chirping.
Pal.
Yeah, pal.
Pal.
Listen, pal.
Pal.
My good friend, John Bomas.
Pal.
So, all right, we're gonna put this one to bed.
I think so. We've covered pretty much everything that we were hoping to cover.
I didn't hear all your results because I was out there calling somebody.
Yeah.
Did you when you went through your results? Did you do the BRP tour, the PPMS?
No, I did not. Who won?
Randy Chrysler.
Randy Chrysler. I saw that.
Sure did.
Yep.
I was going to bring that up. And
hey, what's the fantasy standings for us? Do you have those?
That's right. Yes, I do.
Since we got the post race, this is what we fit in the fantasy stuff, right?
Fantasy stuff and plugs, and then we're out.
As far as our teams go, I'm second.
You cheating son of a!
I know. He's the only.
He changes his team every week.
With a changing lineup.
You can't cheat.
You change your lineup every week. I know how this works. I know how it works. Bombas is okay.
Dude, it's all on the computer.
He's got a code multiplier on his.
Yeah.
I'm second.
Points accrued.
My 2 teams are second and sixth.
Jeez.
Where
am I on? Hey, listen, Varin won Monday, so I should be pretty good.
This high in my own freaking game at all.
I wish we could isolate clips. That would be a great one.
You're not doing bad though, Mike. Your Hammer Time team is 16th, so stop.
Oh, I'm right there. I'm there. I'm in the money.
Rich's Outside Groove is 33rd.
Wow.
Let's see. 31st lap team is 60th. Imperial Death March.
Ooh.
That's you, Chris.
Yeah, I know.
You are 63rd.
Wow.
And get this.
Tumbling.
Smashed Empire Films, your other team.
Yes.
That missed the first, 5 races?
5 races.
Is 66th.
Yeah.
Three spots behind your real team that you had the whole.
That's awesome.
The whole season.
How the hell did that happen?
I have no
You know
idea.
what?
I picked the same drivers.
It's the same roster, John. It's the same roster.
No, it's not, obviously. Our driver celebrity, Mr. Bobby Varin, is 5th.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Of course, him winning Monday night.
Yeah, it helps. It helps your cause when you win your own race.
Yeah.
Because Monday's race was the first double point show of the
That's
season.
good. That's how I got up there because I had Varin.
All the races that pay $10,000 or more are double points. The first time I've ever done that. I didn't do that last year.
Wow, you're such a generous promoter.
So
I think I had Varin and Ward actually.
just to change things up. So
yeah, that helps.
there were a lot of
nice.
people that have heavy Utica Rome /
Yeah, my
Fonda
team was one of those
teams. Like Mimi, for instance, Mimi Lazaro. Her team is all Utica Rome Fonda regulars.
Oh, phoom.
So she had a huge score.
Yeah.
Did anybody have
Monday.
Jimmy Davis?
Yeah, Mimi.
Oh,
She's
did
the
she?
only
wow.
one. She's
Yeah.
the only one that's got Jimmy
Oh,
Davis.
man.
Awesome.
Tell her what
JD.
Yeah, Jimmy Davis. Jimmy Davis.
Because of Monday is scoring so high with the double points, she's up to 11th now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Catapulted.
Yep.
But
So,
here her problem is now these next 5 races coming up.
nothing
she's
close.
got nothing.
Yeah.
Like Pencan is the next double point show. She probably won't have anybody.
Yeah. Dwayne's going to that, right?
Yes.
All right. I'll root for him because he's on my fantasy team.
Yeah.
We're going to have Brett
car-
Dale. We'll have Brett Dale
Brett
on the
Dale
show
next week.
along with Jarrett Andretti.
The
Yep.
4-car will be in attendance.
And then we'll see who else we can rack
We'll
up.
rustle up somebody. I don't know.
Yep.
The Bluebell Air number 4 Chadson owned Troyer car will win at Pencan.
Word is that Jimmy Phelps is going to be at Pencan as well.
Yeah. There's a lot of guys going to. I mean, $10,000 to win. How can you
They're
not?
going to
it's
draw
foolish not to.
a lot
I mean,
of cars.
that's crazy. I mean, especially at Pencan, anybody can win there. Anybody.
My prediction over 60 cars.
It'll be a good field.
You got plugs, John?
Go
around the horn one more time before we wrap this thing up.
No, not really. You know what? I'll throw a shout out to Rich's daughter. I believe you said he's not here because it's her birthday. So happy birthday!
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
No, I can't wait. A couple weeks here. All-Star Circuit of Champions coming to New York.
Coming.
Utica Rome Speedway, June the 10th. Can't wait. Can't wait. Empire Super Sprints. I think I got a nice sprint car weekend. I think I'm at Mohawk that Friday.
That's a Thursday night.
Nope, Sunday.
It's a Sunday night.
Sunday night, yeah, at Utica Rome. That's what makes it awesome there. Williams Grove Friday, Lincoln Saturday, Utica Rome on Sunday.
You're going to be exhausted by the time Sunday comes around.
Oh, I can't wait. I love being exhausted, and I love sprint cars.
That's funny because when we first sat down, all you did was complain.
Oh,
you're tired.
I'm tired, man. I am. You know what, though?
Didn't he?
Listen. If I'm tired.
Listen, that's my line.
I know. That's why I used it. If I'm tired, that means it's racing season, and I'm going to a lot of races. I'm over 40 right now, so it's been a good freaking season so far.
Now, we're still talking about races, right?
Yes.
You're over 40?
Over 40
Okay,
races, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Just making sure.
Not my IQ. That's not over 40 or my age. So.
Oh, good. Good to keep moving.
Yeah, keep moving. So. Your turn.
What are you plugging?
I got nothing. I got to make mention again of Utica Rome Speedway. They did such a great job in terms of their hospitality and helping us get the access that we need. You know, Dean Reynolds, Craig Ravel, all the help in making that live show go off, and you know, it was just a great time. I can't wait to be able to do it again. You know, we're going to put this together, and it's going to happen. We are going to be doing some more of those live shows, and it's just going to be a ball. I cannot wait to get back out on the road and do that
yeah,
again.
it kind of takes a luster off of this.
You know, I'm not going to say that, but
it's not. It's not the same excitement because we're not.
It is a little different.
We're not
It's different being here now.
And caught up at the racetrack.
Yeah,
we're just sitting here hanging out.
Yeah, I know. And it's fun because you're in the atmosphere. You smell the food. You hear the cars.
Yeah, you got people eating freaking food right over your shoulders.
Yep. You know, we were
eating his pork sandwich there. I could hear him crunching.
And he's still pissed he didn't get one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am actually. I want to try one of them. So freaking bad now.
We'll have to go back.
Well, we want to go back, so we're gonna start. We're gonna start working on things, and we'll see what we can do about putting that together.
Of course, I probably would have felt a little better if I didn't find out later that there actually was some left.
But well, we hope to welcome Rich back next week when we have Brett Deo and Jarrett Andretti on the air. We sure appreciate everybody hanging out with us. Anything else? Anybody?
I'm good.
Anybody? You good?
I'm good.
All right.
I'm good. Thanks to everybody you mentioned.
We got a note on the tenderloin. The tenderloin was great, just so you know.
Oh, shut up, Zuko.
On that note, I think that's pretty much going to do it. For John Bomas, Mike Mallett, Rich Post, who couldn't make it, I am Chris Marquardt. We really appreciate you hanging out here on the 31st lap, and we'll see you right back here again next week.
Shalom.